Mondays. Oh, Mondays. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome into the monthly report. Another great Monday, another great talk show. Yeah. All right, let's go. How y'all doing? Oh, my camera's kind of tilted. Does that show up on the feed? Can you tell we're tilted? I don't think you can tell. It's a camera leg is like off the table. Get down there. Get down. Bad camera. Hey, everybody. How you doing today? Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. File in. Come on. Come on. Let's get that hype going. My tomatoes, my gardeners. Friggin' Punji over here. Spamming that hydrate button. I appreciate it, dude. I got my cup of water. God knows I needed it. It is hot today. It's hot. Oh, it's toasty. Like, usually we have a good breeze off the water, but this time it's just a bunch of humidity slamming me in the face. But I'm okay with it. I just dunked my head in some cold water. Took a little like 20-minute nap. Like I'm a little refreshed. Are my toes freshly watered? Not my toes, my head is. Not watered from my head to my toes, not today, but you know, we'll get there. I'll cool down probably after this, go take a cold shower or something. How's everybody doing though? Is it pretty hot where you all are? Or is anybody in is the music too loud? My bad. My headphones are quiet, so I did not realize. Yep, the music is up a little bit. There we go. Better? How is that? Is that better? What tune is this? Definitely morning vibe. The tune itself is a good old Stream Beats classic called Wrong But Not Right by Stream Beats by Harris Heller. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Wouldn't it be SC if no one was tilted? Yep. It's got to be a glitch somewhere, right? No, not loud. It's beautiful. Okay. Well, I'll keep it where it was then. I mean, I'll make sure it's not too loud, but I'll keep it at a place where you guys can still hear it because it's kind of chill. You're in South Florida, so heat and humidity is your normal. You just kind of live there. See, many of us, we adopted the heat. We attempted the heat. We've grown into the heat. But you Dr. Drones, you were born into the heat, yes. The humidity molded you from the start. I don't know, that's a Bane voice, whatever. Phoenix, Arizona, I know that's hot. See, I can't even complain. Y'all are in South Florida and Phoenix, Arizona. At least I got like the ocean, or at least like the sea right here with some extra smooth breezes and smooth jazz going my way. But to be honest, yeah, it's warmer than I am used to today. Texas here looking at another 100+ degree day. Ouch. The only thing I really have going wrong for me is there's just two computers running in this room. And we don't have air conditioning, but like other than that, I can survive. Y'all out there in those places though, I'm sorry. Bless you. I hope you can find some of that cruise water, product of Stanton, and drink some of that to keep your hydration up. Heard the monthly report is a little beefy. It's got some good stuff. Definitely in the AI section. And if you peeked on the thumbnail, anybody who's watching the YouTube stream, they did talk a little bit more about power management. resource management, which is a big deal and something we're watching closely. So we'll talk about that a little bit today. We've got some AI stuff to talk about today. Let's see, what else is there? Some okay news on ships, pretty standard stuff. Some talk on features, locations, new caves, stuff like that. So we've got some good stuff to go over, and I will pull up any of the contextually important footage I might have, concept images. We'll even do a little diving into the Galactopedia or Star Citizen Wiki if we need to. Every month we do this stream the first Monday of the month after the monthly report has come out. We talk about everything that they did in the last month in terms of development in Star Citizen. We look at the specifics, we get deep into detail. This is where to go if you enjoy seeing my monthly report videos and want to get something a little bit more in depth. Here we have a conversation, we answer questions, we get to talking. And for those of you who are following on Twitter, you know I put out an announcement where I'm starting to focus a little bit more on that. So my streams are going to start to revolve a little more about getting updates to people, talking about the news, the current ongoings, reviewing the last week, maybe ISC in Star Citizen Live. So keep an eye out for that kind of shift to keep coming through the pipeline. On Wednesday, I'll actually be doing a stream. I might be doing a new player stream on Wednesday, we'll see, but I also might be doing a stream looking at the 3.18 update, kind of an early preview and all the things that we might get to see. But welcome everybody. If this is your first stream, thank you so much for coming and checking it out live. Thanks for coming to watch, chill, talk, whatever it might be. Please ask questions. I'm here to answer them. And well, I guess, you know, I'm here to read the monthly report, but we're going to try and do both things. We're going to try and multitask. Later too, luckily we installed thermal blinds in the big glass windows at the south end of the house, which actually was because of the double glazing's brown, and we're replacing them. So you're getting a little better protection from the good old heat, huh? 3 Swiss in 1 chat. Yo, check us out. We're pretty neutral up in here. Welcome from all over the world. That's what I love about Star Citizen. I guess gaming in general really is kind of a international thing at this point, but love seeing where everybody's coming from. How's it going? Trinidad, pretty cool. Cargo system, yeah, still nothing on the cargo system refactor in this one, unfortunately. So weird. Ooh, that's good, but we're gonna talk about it. Pete, that gameplay loop podcast, nice job. Thank you. Love doing a talk with Salty Mike. We have good conversations about the game. I am in Turkey right now, yes, on the Black Sea coast. All right, guys and gals, people and unpeople, Gian Vandul, however you might, whoever you put your stake with. Let's start talking about the monthly report. Yeah. So this month we're starting with AI content. It's just a couple paragraphs, but I think it's an important couple of paragraphs because people just don't get to hear this enough. So let's look at it. Now, last month, AI content dedicated time to bug fixing existing features. They identified the top 20 usables that the AI interact with and set out to fix as many issues as possible in 2 weeks. The issues were triaged and arranged into 3 categories: bugs that AI designers could solve, bugs that AI animators could solve, and code issues not solvable by AI content. By the end, approximately 50 issues had been solved before the team returned to feature work. This is not an anomaly. This is not the first time we've seen a team that's outside of like the engine or the VFX team working on bugs. They all work on bugs. If you go to the progress tracker, in fact, we go to progress tracker and look at deliverables, you can see that there's quite a bit of bug fixing going on pretty much all the time. You just search bugs, look at feature tech debt and bug fixing, and you can see that there are teams constantly working on bugs. Now, if we look at the AI content team, they've been working on bugs, and as they just said, they were working on some in July. Now, just because that work ends right here in September doesn't mean they're never gonna work on bugs after September. That just means that's what they have planned up until now. But it's good to remember because a lot of people will ask, be like, hey, what are they doing? Why are they adding new features? Stop adding new features. We want fix the bugs, dang it. And you know, a lot of the bugs don't get fixed, unfortunately. A lot of them last way too long. but a lot of them do get fixed and then re-break. And the tough part about it is that as they fix these bugs, they could be good for a year, maybe more, and then something else could come in and break them. Or the bug could be linked to something that is just truly not going to be remedied until we get something like server meshing in the game. It really is, like they said here, I think it's just constantly a case of triage and like what is going to make the biggest difference for the least amount of resources. And it looks like they decided they wanted to really nail some stuff out of AI. So that's kind of how the bug fixing works with separate teams. And I think it's good to remember that there is some bug fixing going on, even if it's not our favorite bug fixing, you know? This update was super chonk, whole lot of stuff in there. Hope you're ready for a 3-hour stream. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how far we can go. Antarctica, but can't say where. Antarctic. You're living in the Antarctic? Hi, I see Grumpy Eyes quit this build. I don't blame him. Yeah, I think people should definitely take a chance to step away from the game when it gets a little frustrating. It used to be... I used to play this game once every month, maybe 2. There was a point at which I put this game down for like 4 months straight because I did not want to touch it. It was like, I was sick of it. It was frustrating, it was buggy, it was annoying. And so I just stepped away for a long time, but that was back in like 2018. So it depends. Everybody's got a different level of tolerance for this stuff. It's a bit sad that a lot of the mechanics are getting worked on in the background, but can't truly shine because servers are not stable enough. Somebody came onto my reaction video from last week when I was talking about the new racetracks they were putting in, and they were like, man, CIG needs to get their priorities straight. And I'm like, dog. They said in this episode that this was one person working on this for 2 weeks in their extra time. What do you mean? What do you mean priorities? Like, if you read the monthly reports, man. Shaner, was that you? I'm trying to say that the stuff in that Inside Star Citizen was not their priority. Trust me, that was not the stuff that they are prioritizing in the company. That was the developers doing stuff that they decided to do on their own personal time. It's a lot like how, what was it, Gmail, I think? Like Google lets their employees do the same thing. If they have something that they want to do in their creative time, they can do it. Sometimes they bring it in, sometimes they ignore it. This time they decided to bring it in. But that wasn't a core engine developer. They weren't working on server meshing. They weren't working on Gen 12. They weren't working on the cargo refactor. They were probably a level design person or something. Been following the project since 2014, but still haven't bought a package yet. I would say wait until you're ready. Don't buy a package until the time comes. You'll know when you know. But there's no reason to force yourself in too early. It gets frustrating if you do. There should be no extra time. The devs should always be working. I don't know about that. But trust me when I say that is not their priority, racetracks. No way. The last time they tried to do races like 2018. So they definitely are they're only like doing that because it fit into somebody's time to do it. It wasn't something I think they forced through. As a new player, going from 3.17 to 17.2 has been very enjoyable. Yeah, it's been better. 3.17.1 was rough. Honestly, all the patches since 3.15 have been pretty rough. I hope 3.17.2 in the long run feels a little better, because it's been at times. That's all I could say. Why are they not working 24/7? Should be. Technically, like they kind of are, huh? Because they have studios in like California and Germany and England. I think somebody's always working. Either work or don't, not this here's something we did in our free time nonsense. I don't know what to tell you, man. If employees literally have to have free time. They can't just, the company is not allowed to make them work that long. So like, if they're like, hey, I'm not getting paid anymore, I'm gonna go home and work on something I find fun. Why would we stop them? That doesn't make sense. think it's more of a communication thing. In your opinion, they should always lead with, we're still working on those major things like server meshing, but in the meantime, our other teams are doing this. But that's like, I mean, it's kind of like a given, right? Like when Apple releases their iPhone, you don't assume they just stopped working on their MacBooks. Or like when Toyota is like, hey, we're releasing a electric car, you're assuming they're still working on their DTM and their F1 franchises. It's just like there's a lot of people in the company. It's over 700 people. Aaliyah Joe 10, thank you so much for the sub. Resubbing up 17 months. Appreciate you. I hope work starts to clear up for you a little bit more. Gmail itself was in beta phase for 5 years until July 7th, 2009. Can't believe it was that late. Feels like we've been using Gmail forever. Is there any plans to add creative mode? I don't think so. No, this is a pretty developer-focused game in terms of like what's going on. Apple actually makes things. I mean, you're telling me that CIG shouldn't have made something and instead made something else. So either CIG doesn't make things and this isn't a problem, or they do make things and they put that time towards something else. But I mean, we could, I guess, go with another company. I don't know. Let's talk about like Universe Sim, a game that's let's talk about Hooded Horse, a game, a company that's publishing Falling Frontier, a great game that looks really cool, but it's not out yet. They're still putting out updates for Falling Frontier while they're working on other games too. It's pretty standard industry-wide. Like, you have to put out announcements for stuff without stopping the development on other things. But anyways, enough on that. Let's get back to AI stuff. So July's feature work included supporting the weapons vendor setup by creating weapon pickup and placement animations, progressing with the locomotion polish mentioned last year, and retargeting overlay animations to the female skeleton. The AI designers continued implementing the dynamic conversations feature, expanding it to the eat and drink behavior. Now NPCs can have conversations between bites or drinks. Ah, that's perfect. It's so hard to take a drink and then continue a conversation, you know, without seeming like a weirdo. That was actually really difficult for me. I almost just died. Regardless, that's why we're here for the monthly report, by the way. We're going to talk about all the stuff that they're working on while these ISCs come out. This is the whole reason I do this stream, because all this stuff, this is all stuff that was going on while they were developing those racetracks. So if anybody is concerned ever when they see that the CIG is doing something and they feel like, hey, why are you doing this? You should be doing that. Come check out these streams. That's why I do them, so that people can see what else is going on in the company. Mace, hey, first one in the stream today. Thank you for resubbing. Appreciate you, man. Hey. Alrighty, let's see. So we are pleased with the result as it makes the AI feel less individual and more connected with other NPCs. This will be cool. This has been something they've been talking about for a while. And in terms of AI, I really like this. I was just playing, well, my wife was playing Cyberpunk and I was watching her play. And we came up to this conversation where two people were talking. They had a back and forth. They spent all their lines. And then they just stood there and kept doing like this same canned reaction thing. One of them was like on their phone, putting it in their pocket, taking it back out. And my wife was like, what did they, like, how did they make these AI? Because she's played a few games. She plays like GTA, Mortal Kombat, dabbled in The Witcher a little bit. Like, she recognizes some stuff with AI. And I realized when I'm reading stuff like this, I'm like, this would be really nice in Cyberpunk. I'd love if they naturally kind of broke out of those conversations and went along to do something else. That's definitely going to help with like the feel and the atmosphere at space stations and cities and stuff. What is the future of bounty hunting in Star Citizen? It's in depth. It's a little bit up in the air right now, but the bounty hunting V2 feature is going to actually be the first feature that uses the quantum simulation system. It uses a virtual AI from that system. So it's still got a while to go. It won't be done this year, but it's going to be using things like the security system. So like when you use your MobiGlass, when you get to a store, when you do something like that, they'll report your location and bounties. Bounty hunters will probably have an app in their MobiGlass where they can track their targets and stuff like that. It'll be a little bit more in depth, but I think bounty hunting is something that's going to be built very slowly over time. To be honest, in rare lapses when servers are actually stable, AI is surprisingly sharp. Yeah, the AI is bad on full servers. And we all wait with bated breath to see if server meshing is something that's going to fix that. You know what that is? It's this leg. Oh, nope, 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 nope. That was wrong. Whoops. Get back up here. Sorry about that. We're good. Sorry, it's my bootleg stream. We're on the last. Thank you for the saxophone, man. By the way, I made an executive decision. I'm going to change all of the redeemables back to Twitch. God dang it. Stupid camera. I need a new tripod, I really do. I promise it's not normally like this. And it kind of is. All right. Are we good? Are we agreeable, camera? Oh no, we lost the feed. Oh, jeez. All right, hold on, guys. The disaster time. Let's see. Where is my camera?
Strap yourselves in, boys.
Yeah, seriously, strap yourselves in. What is going on? This is unfortunate. There we go. All right, we got it back. Did we get it back? Come on. Sorry about this, guys. It's having trouble reconnecting to the camera. Yeah, I think I might have lost my camera, folks. I'm gonna have to reset it. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can switch this over. Whoops, nope. To here. And that's the last time I took a picture. Let me see if I can reset my cam link. There we go. All right, cool. We're good. We got it fixed. Christ almighty. This is that's streaming for you. All right. Are we good? Are we okay? Can you guys see me? I'm not even gonna touch my camera anymore. Thank you for your patience, everybody. We're back. We're back. We're okay. We're gonna survive. Where were we? Where the heck were we? All right. I was on the last line in AI content. How you doing, Benjamin? So AI engineers will now also seek out colleagues at wall panels and war zones, work zones to start conversations. They're currently working on implementing chatter for AI in bunk beds and arcade machines. This is one of those things. Oh, Wookinger, thank you so much for the resub. 13 months. We have a lot of people in like 2-digit months, and it's kind of mind-blowing how long you've all been around. Thank you. Much appreciated. Bart is here. Good to see you. Welcome. Mr. Robocopter. Robocopter? Thank you for the tripod fund. You know what it is? The problem with this tripod? You know the little bar that connects the actual like mount of the camera to the tripod? It has like a bolt or something, a fastener that goes through it. That fastener is gone. So the thing just tips over whenever there's too much weight forward facing. At negative 69 degrees, you don't lose a camera. Ah, Clio, the lovely Clio atmosphere. Perfect for this skin. Speaking of full servers, do you think CIG jumped the gun with raising the max player count? I don't. I think it was a good idea. I think considering how the performance is going, it was a solid call. And, you know, I've been asking people again and again, especially people who are a little bit nervous about it and hesitant about it. Salty Mike was definitely more hesitant to say it was a good idea. But even he at this point is saying that he's glad that they did it. And I think overall, it's brought a more positive experience than a negative one. I wanted to talk about the stream store stuff. Yeah, well, I was mentioning that I'm bringing all that over to Twitch. So Twitch has the easier to use point system. It's built right into Twitch, so we can do that. And that way we can actually have a question system where people can submit points to put in a question, and then I can answer that question on Wednesdays when I'm going to start having my Wednesday Q&A. I think that's the name for it. I haven't really come up with something that wasn't that epic, but I'm excited to do it. Just kind of a Wednesday stream where we talk about different things in the game, questions from, you know, roadmap roundups, monthly reports, Jump Town, or Jump Point, whatever it might be. We'll host that on Wednesdays and kind of get deep into all of the most important questions. Thanks again for the tripod fund. That's going to be a nice tripod, guys. UEE Navy out here donating. Should I be worried? Is this going to come? Like, I feel like if the UEE gives you money, they expect something back in return. Do I have to sign up with CDF now? Is that how this works? Okay, AI features. Thank you, Navy. For human combat, AI features continue to work on tactic selection, including implementing a more data-driven approach to setting up the scoring factors in DataForge. What is that? What is that poll? How many stream problems will Tomato have today? The most common answer to that poll was yes. Y'all know me so well. By the way, for anybody who is on YouTube, I'm really sorry that I can't do like the question call out thing. YouTube's system is just not quite there in terms of interaction, quite like Twitch's is. I am going to try and find some way to take those questions from YouTube. And I know a lot of YouTube streamers are doing different things, super chats and stuff like that. I don't really want to put that behind something to pay for it. That's really strange, but I'm going to try and figure out a way that we can get YouTube questions as well and save them for that Wednesday Q&A. So keep an eye out for that. But for now, most of those will be coming from the Twitch side of things, I think. I guess maybe we could have like a Discord channel for that kind of stuff. Yeah, the YouTube API is a pain. That's what I've heard. I don't know why they haven't figured something out to make streaming better, because they've got everything else working now. Anyways, this will allow, sorry, the DataForge thing I was talking about, let's just like paraphrase right back into that paragraph, will allow the designers to quickly tweak values to produce the best possible range of combat behaviors for the situation, including with multiple combatants with different setups and ranges. This solution extends the function selection in Subsumption to allow the game code to register a custom probability calculator, which will provide benefits in general, not just for combat behaviors. So for those of you who are always here, you're probably sick of me going over this. I do it in like every video where it comes up, every monthly report. But let's talk about subsumption. So subsumption is our kind of, I always phrase it as a if this then that for AI. So it drives their logic. And you can actually see that here. You can see that starting point up there in the top left is the initial AI sort of stage, their stance, their behavior. And they can do something in regards to moving. They could do something in regards to weapons, in regards to engaging or terminating something else. And as they go through these things, there are different little mini actions in there that they also have to do a decision on based on the outside stimuli. So a lot of what we read in AI is going back to the subsumption system. It goes back to exactly what this said. We would like to make it so that if there's 2 people with you or 3 people with you and one of them has a railgun, then that AI is going to know that person has a railgun and might change the way they approach that combat situation. If they know one of their AI friends has a sniper, maybe they won't rush in as fast because they realize they have cover. These are hypothetical situations, but I think that's what this paragraph is trying to tell us. They're trying to change the way that AI see and respond to a battle based on who is around them on their team. They also began aligning the existing perception systems to a new design where the perception meter rises depending on different stimuli, such as hearing footsteps or gunfire or seeing a target. And then it falls over. So this is a great one. Once the different threshold levels on the meter are hit, they trigger different alertness levels that determine specific reaction animations and behaviors. For example, at the lowest level, the AI will react by simply turning their head towards the stimuli. Wham! It's a quick head turn. That was the stimuli. The next will be at the middle level, they will investigate the stimulus, and at the highest, they will enter combat. Stimuli can also impact the meter in different ways based on the conditions of the target, including whether they're crouched or standing and the location's lighting. Now, I don't know about all you, but honestly, this is like, how many people have tried to sneak in this game? Have you tried to go into a cave and like sneak up on the bad guys, or dropped into a derelict ship and thought that maybe you could, you know, get in there and take them out with silencers or something, and then just randomly they turn and start shooting at you? It's really hard in this game to know what the heck is going on with the AI in terms of whether they know you're there or not. So it's going to be nice that they're finally starting to work on very clear signs to us to tell us, hey, this is happening. Don't keep moving. This person is kind of on to you. Lay low for a little bit. Splinter Cell stuff. Definitely necessary stuff, though, because the AI is terrible. I mean, the AI is not terrible. Their functions, because of the servers, are terrible. But also the AI still needs some work. Just the foundation isn't built like Twitch. Yeah, and that's a bummer. Not me, mister. You think the system, the channel will work best? Okay. Subsumption junction. What's your function? Get it? Because they're functions that drive the subsumption in the in the junction. If by sneaking you mean sprint running up to them and middle mouse clicking, well, that is the ultimate strategy, right? Get a knife out and sprint to every AI in the building before they know you're there. You always sneak around and it seems to be working with the suppressor, but AI does what AI does, you know? Yeah, sometimes it does feel like it works. My big problem is you don't know. You don't know if it's working until it's too late. You don't get any warnings or anything like that. You're doing the bunker missions and infiltration only. You sneak behind, knock them out, take the gun and kill his friends. Does that work 100% of the time for you? Think you may have the wrong link on your site giveaway description, which is thespacetomato.gaming.com, which returns unreachable. Does it still say thespacetomato.gaming.com? That's a good call. I gotta get that fixed, because it should just say spacetomato.gaming.com. Thank you for getting that checked. I'll have to go into the saved links on the on my video description. I think that's where you're referring to, right? Yeah, in the description. Okay. This is why some games use callouts by NPCs to highlight to you what they are up to, so you know. Yeah, like a little descriptor above their head, or like when they yell to their own people. I'm reloading. Quick, cover me, I'm reloading. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Zortoza 07's buddy, how you doing? Good to see you. How will you know if you win the giveaway? We'll be making a couple announcement posts. I'll also shoot you an email. All right, back to AI. Glorious AI. They're also working to improve the we skipped a paragraph. Work also started on the investigation behavior, with the devs implementing a system to allow NPCs to determine potential enemy hiding spots, check them, and keep track of which ones they've seen. The next stage is for NPCs to share information so they can cover a level together. Holy crap, I hope that sharing of information is out loud and you can hear them talking to each other. These are the kinds of things that I always hear in games, and they always come off a little fake. Because they'll say something like, oh, I know you're here. 2 minutes later. Still haven't found you. Another minute later. You better come out. Like, all right, dude, what are you actually doing? Like, are you just walking around in a circle? It's gonna be super cool if they actually are saying like, hey, this floor is clear, let's move on to the next one or something like that. Must have been the wind. A classic. Oh man, all the different things that have come out over the years. Kermit does all the voices for the pirates, apparently. Oh yeah? All the pirates be British, right? I'm pretty sure like every pirate I meet is British. I feel like they're putting a pretty big stereotype into the game. All British people in the future just become pirates and advocacy and they work at the shops. No, it's not true. There's definitely a few accents in there, but I hope there are more accents soon. I want to hear some crazy accents, like some weird made-up accents from some of these systems. I think it'd be cool and kind of fun. Is someone there? Walks past corpses of friends. My favorite is when their detection range is very short. So like you murder somebody, they're just brutally dismembered on the ground, and like I think this used to happen in, what was it? Deus Ex. This happened a couple times. They'd like be walking up talking about like, did I hear something? And they're like 5 feet away from their dead friend on the ground before they're finally like, oh wait, there's a body here. You're like, yeah, dude, you've been walking towards that for like 30 seconds. Anyways, let's keep going. I'm sorry, I get distracted a lot when we're doing this monthly report stream. I love it. It's fun. Progress was also made on the locomotion refactor. Last month, the team began improving how AI actors process movement, which will allow them to decouple movement requests from what processes it. This is an important change to better support multiple path followers used in different contexts. For example, actors, creatures, or NPCs driving a vehicle or pushing a trolley. They're currently preparing to integrate into the Squadron 42 branch and verify that everything works as expected. That's that thing. That's that thing, yo. You guys remember? They said this. This is the thing. The thing is here. It's in text. They're currently preparing this AI feature for Squadron 42 first. They're gonna verify that everything works, and then we'll see it in Star Citizen. And that's how some of these things go. I don't know why for some things they say it explicitly and for others they don't. But a lot of times I think from now on we'll be getting features that have been verified for Squadron 42 first. Motion and voice capture studios in England? I thought they had one in Los Angeles. I could have sworn that's where people were saying they were flying out to. Courtesy of Hollywood, all pirates have to have a British Cockney accent. Cockney accent. For the subsumption editor within the Sandbox tool, AI Tech implemented new functionality and stabilized the tool to finally open up the usage to all the designers. These kinds of things kind of I don't have the context to know why that's significant, but again, the subsumption editor, as you can see, pretty wide ranging in tasks. Get into vehicle, choose a target, wait for event, fail. The idea that this might be open to all designers, because I don't know what designers it was restricted to before. Maybe it was only the AI team that could work with it. Now maybe the mission team can throw in some subsumption stuff. I'm not sure, but it's always good to hear that their tools are being made more available to more of the designers. One of the things that I think is the hardest thing to remember about the game development, and definitely something that I've started to realize probably in the last year or so, is that the UI and like the interfaces and stuff that they make for us are secondary. And the first UI that they're trying to make, at least during this stage, seems to be for the company itself. And you kind of forget that when you have a company like this that's building something this custom, they're building the method of building it. So like they have to make the UI to make our UI, right? The building block system had to be created. They have to make the UI to allow people to put down bases, make the UI for the Planet Tech team, make the UI for the mission team. So sometimes they mention in here that, oh yeah, we've put these features in these tools. And you're thinking to yourself, why would I use those tools? And then you realize, well, they're building the tools for their own company to use. It's a lot. It's like, I don't know, toolception. Jared has been having them talk about the new motion capture studio in every episode. Oh no, that's the new one though. I'm saying in the past they were using Los Angeles, I think. I think now they're building their own new one in Manchester. But I don't think they've started using it yet. Music makes you want to dance and glitch through the ship. It's a great way to end your life. Keep up the hard work. Appreciate what you do. Thank you, Will Stranaut, for that $10 super chat on YouTube. Much appreciated, my friend. I will keep up the hard work. And I will keep doing things that you appreciate, hopefully. I'm glad you appreciate them, though. They're a lot of fun. Wolfenstein. What about Wolfenstein? Their AI could definitely use a lot of polish, though. I was just murdered in cold blood by Crusader security 5 seconds after having saved their bunker from enemies. Did you shoot one of them? Yeah, the AI could use some help. But outside of like the server tick rate problems that they have and the bad issues they have with AI updating themselves, there's definitely plenty of work to still be done on AI. And this is one of the biggest sections of the monthly report every single month, is the AI team. They're doing a lot of work, but it just does not shine with the way the game works right now. Ooh, I love a good omelet. Welcome. Fully proper UI is also generally one of the last things that really gets worked on because it has to touch everything. That makes sense. Congrats on making today's clip of the day WTF video. What was that? What was my clip? I hope it was a good one. Void Dude, how you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, let's keep going. A better AI debug UI using IMGUI is currently being implemented to allow the devs to select and inspect NPC behaviors. The tool can split the NPCs present into each zone, select multiple NPCs, and inspect their properties. So many freaking tools. Progress was also made on ship reinforcements for Alpha 317.2. The team made the feature more robust by adding better monitoring of the disembarking process from the pilot's perspective. They also... What? The team made the feature more robust by adding better monitoring of the disembarking process from the pilot's perspective. Huh. Well, that's interesting. I feel like I want more details on that. Why would it matter if the pilot could see them disembarking? Better monitoring of the disembarking process from the pilot's perspective. That's weird, because this is an AI pilot we're talking about. They wouldn't exactly need to know that. Any guesses on that? Guess the pilot could dust off after they disembark, but even then, like, if you're flying a Cutlass, you can't see the people disembarking in the back, right? Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that the pilot could know that everybody is off the ship, but why wouldn't that just be, like, transmitted on the back end, you know? Like, last AI off ship, AI in charge, leave. That's interesting, though. I mean, it's certainly a level of detail if they're actually going to say that AI need to physically see that stuff, but I'm not sure. That's interesting. Probably to help the pilot wait for the AI dudes to get off before flying away. Likely before it was just a simple timer. Yeah, maybe they actually have to see. I would think they would just be like, we're all part of this game. I know when you're off the ship, so I'll lift off when you are. But I don't know. Maybe they're really trying to make these AI feel like they're real people. Yeah, so they feel like a person. Okay, well, that's cool. That's good fun. Good luck on trying to figure that stuff out in the 890 jump. Like, looking over the side of the ship. You guys get off yet? Did you unload all the passengers? I want to leave. The screen is on AI features. What screen are you talking about? I think I saw you say that before. Let's see. They also fixed several bugs relating to slow reaction time and desyncs and teleports. These issues are mostly caused by a low server frame rate, but the devs optimized the code and implemented tweaks to allow the code to better handle some of those situations. We're going to talk about this. Teleportation and desync is something they go over in the engine section today with something really interesting, so we'll touch on that a bit. My stream screen? Oh, I see what you mean. Wait, that's weird. Why is that? Where's my mouse? Why? What if we switch over? No, it's just straight frozen. Huh. Let me try and refresh that real quick. There we go. That's very strange. Thank you for pointing that out. I had no idea. I thought you meant there was another feature to go over here with this screen. Thank you. Get a 20 meter long selfie stick to check if everyone's dismembered. Disembark. To check if everybody is dismembered. Oh, geez. Yeah, just like a huge stick with the camera on the end. We'll say it's a graphene selfie pole. With such a modular approach, they can add profiles to multiple AIs and not have to program it for a ship per se. But does that mean there's going to be like AI pilots who don't check to see if everybody's off the ship and just start flying away? AI tumbling out the back as they can't get off in time? Because I've seen that happen with players, and if we want AI to be like players, we all know how messed up players are at playing this game. Yo, Trex Eyes Only. Thank you so much for the sub. I appreciate you, that tier 1 sub on Twitch. Much love, my friend. Slightly worried I have dismembered on the brain at the moment. Oh, I'm just giving you some foreshadowing for later on in this lovely report. We got some news about ropes, and you know what that means. I winked. At some point, I'm gonna get something that makes the camera zoom in on my face so I can wink at you guys. It'd be all creepy. All right, are we moving along with this? Cool. On to AI vehicles. In July, the AI vehicle team finished enabling AI to use different ship modes. AI is now fully integrated with the ability to swap modes when required by the task they want to perform. This is something that we've been listening to or reading about for the last 2 or 3 months now. Their monthly reports, they've been talking about the AI team working on the ability for AI to switch between different types of flight. So quantum mode, obviously VTOL mode will be one of them. I'm imagining scanning mode and landing mode, obviously something that we're seeing with the dropships coming in. And this will be useful when, I think probably the biggest reason this will be useful, at least in the immediate future, is for quantum mode. It sounds like they're getting close to the point where they want to have AI either quantum traveling or at least pretending to quantum travel, which will be good because I'm sick of them just like popping in and out of existence. Bug fixes were also made throughout the month, including an issue with the Fly 2 not computing an efficient path and dive attacks not ignoring driverless spaceships. So they were just attacking random spaceships without drivers in it. Cool. Your notification sounds like a doorbell. Knock, knock. Fancy a tonk. Need a cutlass so you can use your upgrade. Tonk. Did I say something about the tank? What? Chris, why for the Nova tank? All right, on to animation. Animation's super short this month. The dropship's already quantum travel. Yeah, so it seems like some of them are starting to use that those mode switches. And I guess this must be real quantum traveling because they've always had the Invictus Week parade do quantum traveling, right? I'm guessing this will be switching the AI over to doing actual quantum travel because probably by this time next year, we will have an entirely different quantum traveling system. And it will likely do more to show people that the ship is preparing for quantum travel, whether that's by the lights turning on or by the space bending around that ship or something else happening. They'll probably be updating that, so that's why they're making this change to AI now, along with the other things like VTOL and stuff. Thought I mentioned AI using vehicles, as in ground vehicles. Oh, using different ship modes. Not vehicles, not yet. Although that's a good point. I'd love if they could use vehicles, because we're gonna need them to start driving around our cargo. Going to pick up the better half from work. Enjoyed the live stream. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Have a good day. 600i is getting a larger drop lift for larger vehicles. Imagine if the 600i becomes a tonk carrier. 600i has got a pretty beefy sized elevator too. AI reinforcements actually do quantum travel. Someone snuck onto the Cutlass and it actually QT'd it before disappearing. Cool. So it sounds like that work is already in the game. Besides server meshing, what is my #1 most hype feature? I would say, I don't know, there's a few. Resource management, physicalized damage model, and a better reputation system, I think, are the three that I could see making the biggest differences. But if we had the physicalized damage, oh gosh, like if we could disable ships without blowing them up, that'd be one of the single most effective changes that we've gotten in the game's history. Completely changing, like, ever since this game started, all we've been trying to do is blow up ships. That would be such a huge difference. Everything from piracy to salvage would change. New crime stat system, yeah, so I'm hoping that the more robust reputation system can take over the crime stat system, so we don't have to worry about crime stats. Yeah, weapons and components have kind of slowed down a lot. I think they're waiting for engineering a lot. Let you know I'm a pirate? Nah. I'm a non-pirate kind of thief, you know? Let's see. Did we already do animation? No, we did not. Last month, the facial animation team further developed female vendors, outlaws, rescue and transport, I'm assuming that means missions, and continued burning down emotes. Love those burned emotes. The motion capture team is currently building their new studio, which will be live by mid-August. That's the one in Manchester that was mentioned earlier. And you see it on Inside Star Citizen time and time again. For art, in the characters department, the character art team continued work on the frontier and high fashion outfits for upcoming releases. They also progressed with marketing items for both the subscriber program and upcoming holiday events. Wonder what the next event is. Didn't they have something in September? I believe there was a free fly event in September last year. That might have been for the ship showdown. I got a pirate stream. Maybe. We'll see how much the cargo refactor really brings in. You're new to the game. When is the next Invictus Week? That won't be until next May. Invictus Week happens every May. But there are other events that you can get into. The anniversary in November, which is called Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, will allow you to rent all of the ships and see a bunch of cool stuff. Things will be coming out. We'll be getting a lot of updates. November and December are very exciting months for this game. So, Invictus Week might be a ways away, but we got good stuff coming up this fall. All right, going on for art in the ships category. Throughout July, the UK ship art team continued the gray box pass on the Argo Srv, finishing the exterior work before moving on to the interior. Let me drop a quick pic for anybody who doesn't know about our good Lord and Savior, the Argo Srv, the go-to search and rescue ship, or I guess we should say search and recovery ship, and also a nice little cargo transport for short haul jobs. The Argo Srv is our first tugboat. It is purpose made to drag ships along out of atmosphere, into atmosphere, across shape, space. You can even take derelict ships or mineable asteroids and move them with the SRV ship with its tractor beam. So this ship is going to also be a pretty big, interesting addition to the game. It's still a ways out. As you can see, they're only just on the gray box phase, which for anybody who doesn't know is the second phase of development for a ship. They go white box, gray box, and then they kind of step into final art, but there's a lot of small things that happen throughout that process. And I can't find this ship for the life of me. This is always the worst part of this stream. I'm so bad at finding stuff. Oh, well, there's a constellation with a tractor beam, but that's not what we want. No, we want the SRV. Where is it? I guess I could just look this up online. Give me like 20 more seconds. If I can't find it, I'll look it up online for you. There's the Prospector, there's the Orion, the Gladius, Starfarer, Hammerhead, Endeavor, Nomad, SRV. So this is one shot of it. Oh, that's very small. This is one shot of it, in case you didn't know what it looked like. It's not really doing anything in this picture. But as you can see right back here, in between the forks, there's a massive tractor beam that you can use to pick up different things like giant boxes. You can use it to transport other ships. You can actually team up with other players and transport larger ships with 2 or 3 SRVs. And you can see that happening here with an SRV down here dragging a constellation and another SRV. What do you mean there's nothing to show? You better show me my dang picture. Dragging it out of atmosphere. So this is going to be an important ship when it comes to salvage, especially salvage when it comes to piracy, when it comes to utility. Let's see if I can find that other picture where it is carrying just a box. I don't see that around here. But there is another picture of it out there where it's carrying a massive, like 5, 6, 10, I don't know, SCU box. You can tell that they kind of have it in store for it to be a pretty big part of the cargo system too. Argo makes the drippiest ships. Wet. Hey, Trek Size Only, thank you for also gifting out a sub to the community. Yo, that's much appreciated. That's getting one more person in the sub club. Access to those videos and stuff. All right, development of an unannounced ship continued, which is currently moving from gray box to final art. Keep that in mind. Unannounced ship from gray box to final art. July saw the gray box pass complete on the cockpit, dashboard, habitation, and cargo hold. Team also progressed the exterior hull to final art. So we know that there is a, what the, didn't I say that you can't do that unless you're subscribed to the channel? God, does that mean that spam bot subscribed to the channel? That doesn't, these bots. What was I gonna say? So we know that this ship that they have been working on, it's unannounced, so nobody really knows anything about it, but they have revealed to us here, there's a cockpit, a dashboard, I would hope there's a dashboard, habitation, and cargo hold. So we know it's got an interior, and we know it has a cargo hold. And it's going to final art in August. So if we actually go to, did they say anything about the Vulture in this one? No, it doesn't look like it. Just mention it there, just in the comments here. So one thing that you can do is, let's go back to the other monthly report. Star Citizen monthly report, June, and see what they said about the Vulture. Keep in mind, this is just for the art side of things, so this isn't a for sure thing. But, okay, so here's the development of the announced ship, currently in gray box, landing gear, exterior doors, cockpit, dash, and pilot seat. And they don't say anything about the Vulture here either. So they may have finished the Vulture then. So it's kind of hard to draw a parallel between the two, but generally something that's going to the final art right now, we could definitely see that in 3.18. There's a very, very good chance that whatever they're talking about here in this ship art segment is coming to 3.18 and will be making good use or highlighting even that cargo refactor because it's got a cargo hold. So we'll see what it is, but interesting to see. Oh, definitely not the Odyssey. Woo! That would be a surprise. All right, the final art pass on an unannounced ground vehicle was also finalized. This is probably something in addition to the Centurion, something else we'll probably see in 3.18. The artist then moved on to a pass of the Misk Hull C. The white box pass began on an unannounced variant of an existing ship with modifications to the exterior nearing completion. You already know that they're talking about the tomato pin. Come on. Come on, CIG, give it to us. The Terrapin as a search and rescue vehicle would be awesome, especially for Pyro. It'd be perfect. Just do it. Give us a medbed in that ship. It'd be cool. Thought it was a Cutlass Brown. Oh, God. The old Cutlass Brown because we couldn't install a toilet. Is there going to be a video about this? Yes. Yes. Always putting out a more summarized monthly report video. We don't go into nearly as much detail or anything like that, but there'll be something. Apollo. Oh, the Apollo was awesome, but it's really big, and it's also a tier 2 vehicle. I think the Terrapin as a search and rescue vehicle would be a great tier 3 medical vehicle. Very small, it's got very, very thick armor, and it's great for environmental areas. In fact, that's the selling point of the Terrapin. A, it can scan, and B, it has crazy armor that allows it to go in different planets where others can't go. That's partially why I wanted it as a search and rescue. All right. Now here is one of the great highlights of this report. A resource management pass on the Aegis Hammerhead also began. This includes adding relays and modifications to the existing component bays to make them all functional. This is only the first half of the greatness of this report that I mentioned, but it gives us enough to go off of. So resource management's a huge deal. That's what's going to bring us the ability to stop fires, the ability to vent rooms, the ability to power our ships, to cut off parts of our ships in terms of power, life support, all that kind of stuff is linked to power management. The heat system that keeps our VTOL engines being VTOL engines, that's all power management. And they talk about the Aegis Hammerhead here, adding relays and modifications, and you can see earlier on in our videos, this is what the thumbnail is about. They had this engineering segment figured out just to test it. So you can see they have relays, they've got batteries, power plants, turrets, all the things that draw and create energy, as well as a sub-network display over on the left side that sort of highlights them. And you can see that as they click off certain relays in certain places, it disconnects entire sections of the ship in terms of power. Now, going one step further, we can also see that in addition to the engineering side of this, they've also been working on the gameplay side of this. So here we have an alarm system with a power source that is here, and a bunch of alarm modules with batteries in them. The player can run over to the module, or I'm sorry, that's the battery. They have their own power blades. The player can run over to the battery, turn off the power, right? And then take a power blade and slip it back into one of the alarms and see that it still works. So in the gameplay side of it, they've also started to figure out a functioning power system. So this resource management is something they've been working on for a long, long time. And it's going to allow us a lot more control over our ships, the bases we go to, the outposts we use, the space stations we discover. And the Hammerhead seems to be one of the kind of test beds for that functionality. But this is really, really good that we're hearing them working on it, because while they have been working on it for a while, they haven't really talked about it. Is it too late to start playing Star Citizen? Absolutely not. If anything, it's too early for some people. Yeah, is it too early? It's the question is it too early? I think for most. You've got plenty of time if you're not ready to play it yet. Oh, sevens, buddies. Buddies, the garden. Welcome. So that's a big deal. And I'm gonna go a little bit deeper into that, but we will hold off until we get to the next little bit. Let me just make sure I saved that talking segment. Okay. In the US, Art transitioned to their final pass on the Drake Corsair, while supporting system design on the Grey Box, taking the main, retro, and MAV thrusters to the final stage. The port wings were also detailed and are almost ready to hand off. On the exterior, the nose was further detailed and modifications were made to the decal texture to standardize the official Drake font. The team also took the interior cargo hold through to the final art, with an initial lighting pass being completed throughout the interior. So the Corsair actually sounds like it's kind of on par with that unannounced ship that went from Grey Box to final art, maybe a little bit ahead of it. But depending on how small this ship is, the Corsair and this ship could come at the same time. So if we get lucky, and don't quote me on this because we very well might not get lucky, we could see the Corsair, the Vulture, and an unannounced ship all in 318 along with this unannounced vehicle. That'd be a Drake heavy update, huh? That'd be very cool. It's too late to change your mind, but too early to be happy. Time is required. Join in and be patient. Check out the free flies. Don't even spend money on the game yet. So this is good news. I'm excited to hear what this ship is. I'm not crazy about ships, but you know, it's interesting that it's got a cargo hold and the timing puts it really close to the cargo refactor beginning. So, you know, that's fun. Community segment, talking about patch watches, some of the lore that they put out, the free fly event that we had, Battle of the Bricks. They had it was kind of a little community event between the Star Citizen community and the Eve community, and they were able to build some Legos and do some cool stuff. I know Level Cap was really big into that. He's got a separate YouTube channel. I don't know if you know Brick Vault, where they do a lot of Lego build-ups and stuff like that. Sounds to me like they are setting up for all these new ships to be here for IAE this year. That's possible, Aaliyah. That's definitely a good possibility. They're maybe going to do 318 around IAE and just be like, okay, they're coming for IAE. That's a good call. Will the new ships have game loops to work within? I have no idea. The Vulture will. The Vulture is going to be the first ship that you can salvage with. So that's a really big deal that that ship's coming in. The Corsair is an explorer and cargo hauler. It's not a cargo hauler, it's just an explorer. There's not really much to explore. So, I mean, you could use the Corsair for things like transport, probably some level of armed escort, and that's mostly it. Put a vehicle on there, could do that stuff. And I mean, there are things to do with that. You can definitely go around and try to find different things that we haven't found. They're adding a bunch of new locations in the next update. They're adding new rivers. They're adding new caves. So there could be stuff to find, but generally there's not like a actual scan and discover things kind of exploration phase. So not for that. For that third vehicle, I have no idea because we just don't know what the vehicle is. Corsair feels like a bigger Cutlass. I mean, it is from Drake and it is bigger, but it's more about exploration, I think, whereas the Cutlass is kind of a generalized ship, though they might both hit those same flavors. It's a hefty gunship as well. It's kind of a confusing ship, the way that they've talked about it. It's like, I think they introduced it as an explorer, but then they also make it sound like it's supposed to be a pirate ship. And I'm like, you gotta tell me, you gotta be clear about this. Come on now. Heed the call of uncharted space, harness the spirit of exploration with the Drake Corsair, a worthy companion supporting you in battle, discovery, and delivery, wherever the winds of adventure may steer you. So yeah, maybe it is like a bigger Cutlass Black. It's a cool ship though. It's got a really unique design. It just looks great. I like it. This is one of my potential favorite ships. I just really like that size class. All right, on to the engine section. Oh boy, the engine section. There's actually some good stuff in here this time, but most of this isn't going to make any sense to me. So feel free to correct me if you know anything about this. In July, the physics team made several optimizations to the code. Ray box overlap checks were implemented in ISPC and are now also used in ray world intersections. Sounds like a music video, not gonna lie. To quickly skip entity parts if there's no overlap of array and an entity's local bounds. Further optimizations include using a box pruner to process vehicle wheels and all of their possible colliders and their parts more quickly, as well as SSE and AVX2 optimizations in the code that searches parts of a physical entity. Obviously. Additionally, support for successive pulley attachments to rope entities was added, and the spatial configuration of interior grid types was changed to use more layers of internal nodes that are smaller in dimension. They just like skip over this. They're so casual talking about these ropes and pulleys, and they still haven't really told us what they're for. I mean, we know that we have kidnapping gameplay coming up, right? Like, that is not a, let me see if I can find that screen real quick. That's not a secret. We're gonna have kidnapping possibilities, and the way that they've displayed that has been with rope, though. I think that's kind of just a simplification. I think I need to scroll down through here and look up our UI additions. Should be around here. Here we go. So if you look on this screen, where is it? Where is it? Here. You can see over here that there is a kidnapping profession. That'll probably be extrapolated out into, like, I don't know, forced recovery or something. Lawful and unlawful. But, like, they've got ropes. It's the only way we've seen ropes, besides one of my favorite applications, which was rappelling. Not something, again, that they have teased much to us since the first time we ever saw it. And probably not something I can find the video for, because that one's always really hard to find for me. But they have shown us one example of somebody rappelling from the cave, the roof of a cave, and dropping down into the cave with a rope. And I'm imagining that might be what these rope and pulley things are about, or at least that might be something that we get because of these rope and pulley things. Now, they haven't talked much about what it is for, but I do think that that would be an obvious application. I can't find it though. Sorry, y'all. Could you search the video from the Carrick trailer? Oh yeah, that's a good one. But no, the one I'm thinking of is actually in-engine. Like, they showed us an in-engine shot of a player hanging, or not a player, but a character hanging from a rope in what looked like a cave in Daymar. I believe it was the cave on Daymar, and God knows why I can't find it ever. Maybe, just maybe it's at the bottom of this screen. No, I don't see it here. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to find it. Oh, wait, hold on. I've changed everything. I've updated my own internal drive, so I should just be able to search for this now. Give me a cool minute. Let me go ahead and hop into my footage folder and let's see if we can find it. Rappel. Come on, buddy. There it is. Yeah, I love the power of search. So here's the shot. This is from years ago. But this was kind of like, they just sort of snuck this into one of the things that they were, when they were doing a little featurette on cave development. And like, this is the only shot I've ever seen of this in engine. But you can see there's a person there hanging from a rope, ropes attached to them. Clearly they're descending into the cave. Obviously it's a setup shot, but I always thought it was kind of like foreshadowing, a little teaser for us. And I think that's what it is for this rope and pulley stuff going on. How do we check our tomato tokens and figure out what to do with them? There should be a little thing underneath your chat window. Oh, tomato tokens, I'm sorry. ! store, and then click on the link. You can also use them to get tickets for our giveaways though. What's up, Bob? How you doing? There are a few features that are going to stop people from playing this regularly. You've been running a group, but without NPC crews, server mesh, and guild features, there's no game yet. Certainly not a game that's ready for everyone at this point. Yeah. drones. Drones will be cool. All right, on to the next little bits. I get caught up on the rope stuff. You know how it is. It's because of Paul. It's because of Astropub. He got me hooked. That sounds bad. He brought him up. He's the one who focused on him. Let's see. So going back to the spatial configuration of interior grid types, this, for instance, helped with Portalisar, where a lot of time was spent maintaining thunk lists. Ooh. Good old thunk, which is completely removed by this change. On the renderer, the Gen 12 transition continued. For example, Gen 12 scaleform rendering was enabled by default. Support for MIP map generation passes was added, and material overrides for render nodes are now supported, including for multiple materials. For anybody who doesn't know, the Gen 12 renderer is a huge deal. That is, I would say, one of the biggest features coming this year. If it comes this year, I think it should come this year, but you know, we can never say for sure. They sound like they're confident it'll be finished. The whole crossover, that switchover will be finished in 3.18, but we don't know. Basically, what it's doing is reconfiguring the renderer to allow the game to more responsibly send actions to our GPUs rather than hosting so many of them on our CPUs, and also allowing our CPUs to run in a multi-threaded fashion and take care of jobs in parallel rather than in series. That is my own non-developer brain trying to explain that. I don't know how accurate it is, but I think that's how I've understood it. And I actually have a little video animation that I made here from my video last year on Gen 12 that kind of visualizes what's going on. Let's say you have a house to complete with 3 workers. These 3 workers represent our CPU cores on hand. The time they take is the time taken to pass to the GPU, and occupancy is the CPU utilization percentage that you would see on your task manager. You can see in this diagram that each red action is a point where one task is dependent on the other to continue. Each time we reach one of these red points, we need to jump to another CPU core to keep working on that next task. While this isn't inherently bad, it could be much better. Instead, you could move some of your processes around to open core positions to decrease time and increase utilization, completing more work in a shorter amount of time. So that was just like a little thing that I made last year to try and visualize it after the Citizencon presentation, and I think that kind of touches at least on what Gen 12 is supposed to do. But the way that they've talked about Gen 12, it is part of that thing that people have been asking. Why is this game so unoptimized? Why are my frames so bad? This hopefully will be something that starts to help with those problems, especially for people like myself who just don't have the CPU for this game. Will there be a Citizencon this year? It's going to be digital. It won't be in person. Alright, so continuing on with this Gen 12 stuff, the render loading thread was replaced by a video rendering thread, which is needed for the sole purpose of rendering UI while the game is loading. Lastly, a bug that was crashing the video driver was fixed, and the entire render code was changed to successfully compile via include what you know. Various issues in the form of buffer overruns in low-level VFX render code was also fixed. I don't know what that means. Also, no Keynote. Yeah, no Keynote gameplay demo. That's correct. Thank you, Anno, for dropping that Gen 12 link in the chat. For anybody who wants to learn more about Gen 12 and how it might help fix the game, make it run better, that link's in chat if you want to check it out. The Gen 12 ports of atmospheric and volumetric cloud rendering continued as lookup table generation for atmosphere, as well as volumetric cloud processing steps were successfully moved over to execute through the new APIs. The rendering of legacy clouds was moved to Gen 12 too, and can now also render as part of the deferred pipeline's forward stage. This recent progress also resulted in various suggestions, some of which have already been implemented, to refine the Gen 12 APIs for special cases so that they can be ported straightforwardly, is that a word? Straightforwardly? And integrate better. Lastly, work on porting the remaining passes for atmospheric and volumetric clouds will commence in August. So
Lots of work going on at Gen 12. Hopefully that is a big tool in optimizing the game and helping it run better for all of us, because the frames kind of suck at times. On the core engine side, entity lifetime code was adjusted for the new needs of server meshing, with the goal of it being easier to use as well as creating a more refined feeling of persistence. A time-sliced entity density manager was implemented as a part of the reworked entity lifetime for server meshing. That might be what they were talking about in terms of making sure that the things dropped, waste, trash, things that don't really matter, that are low priority, are getting swept up by the system and moved out of the I guess, density manager to free up some more space. Any adjective can be made into a valid adverb using the ly ending. Yeah, so you could just like any word at all? Just be like kersnuffishly. That actually sounds pretty standard for an adverb. Touche, Lucid. The remainder of the time was spent supporting Alpha 3.18 and bug fixing 3.17.x, especially analyzing the impact of 100-player servers. Anybody else been enjoying the 100-player servers? Very tomato-ly. See, now that's a verb. That's a noun. Come on now, buttly. Yeah, these aren't adjectives. You heathens. Where'd you get your literature from? When will 3.18 PTU start? Oh boy, I wish I knew. I wish I knew. I want to know too. I want to see it. I want to see the PTU. I want to see 3.18, please. We need 1,000 member servers. That'd be cool. That'd be pretty cool. You've only gotten 75 player servers so far. Huh. Sometimes, yeah, I step into a 75 player server. And it'll go up at some point. Heavenly, calculatingly. See, now that sounds good. Calculatingly. I could, I'll allow it. Jumptown Switch changes the player count. Here's the thing. I think this was, somebody was pointing this out to me the other day. If the game is already at 100 player count and they want to drop it for Siege of Orison, even if they drop the player count, it doesn't actually kick players out of the server. So you could still have a Siege of Orison server with 100 people, because even though the player count has dropped, those people didn't leave. New people can't join, but if the people don't leave, then the players stay. That's at least what I'm hearing. All right, on to features. This is the Arena Commander section of features. Last month, the Arena Commander feature team fixed issues in both Arena Commander and Star Marine, including some with map and game mode selection, scoreboards, level geometry, respawning, and AI spawning. The Arena Commander team says, our community has been very helpful in identifying such issues as they appear, which we greatly appreciate. Additionally, ongoing improvements were made to how quickly and easily players get into sessions. Investigation into getting PU-based locations as environments in AC and SM also continued. It does sound like they're moving the racetracks that we're getting in-game to be options in Arena Commander as well for racetracks, which will be cool. Because like sometimes you just want to go and race one of those routes without having to, you know, go through the process of getting in-game and flying there. Love these bots. Gosh, they suck. And finally, bugs were fixed to give the community as stable as an experience as possible. Remember that, bugs do get worked on. Maybe not the best ones, though. With the new actor movement synchronization enabled for the PTU, this is characters and weapons, July saw the team focus on fixing issues, specifically with extrapolation. All right, so here's the part I was talking about with the desync and teleportation. This is pretty cool. So extrapolation is when a local machine, I know extrapolation as being one of those terrible things we had to learn in like, I don't know, some math class. It's like Calculus 2 or something. I mean, we didn't learn it, but we had to use it a lot. But in this context, extrapolation is when a local machine tries to predict what another player will be doing. So it takes the existing data and says, hey, this is what I'm expecting. This is what I'm going to extrapolate is going on, even though I can't see it. So it's necessary when the network latency prevents data from arriving to your computer, specifically on time. So if your computer is disconnected or not receiving that data fast enough, it has to extrapolate what it thinks those other players are doing. Incorrect prediction results in the player appearing to teleport or rubber band when up-to-date data arrives from the server. So your computer is extrapolating that location. It's saying this is where the player probably is, and then boom, 10 seconds later, it gets the data updated. It realizes, oh crap, I was wrong, and it adjusts the area of the location of that player. That's part of why we see people jumping around, teleporting, desyncing. And that's what they're talking about here, trying to help figure out. The team will continue to refine the algorithm over the coming releases and are specifically looking at improving the handling of look input synchronization for the next patch. They are really hammering down on some of these quality of life improvements and kind of bug fixes we've been dealing with. I think they see how many people want to play this game as a regular game, and they're trying, still kind of slowly but surely, to continue to make it better for people. Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're muting these bots every time they jump into chat, but they just continue to be made. I even made it so that only subscribers can chat. I'm gonna have to make it so that only subscribers of a certain time can chat. I gotta keep trying to do different things to cut them off. Pancake Bone, thanks for gifting out a sub to Paseo. Much appreciated. Thanks for gifting the gift of tomatoes to the community. Much love, my friend. The elevators are messed up. You recently fell through the ground at New Babbage just getting out of bed. I remember when that used to happen a lot. I didn't even know that was still happening in New Babbage. When they first brought that planet in, that happened a lot, where the game wouldn't load fast enough for you loading back in. Don't they send a link? Can you lock link posting to only supporters and mods? Might be able to do that. I'll have to look into that too. Paseo, welcome to the sub club, my friend. I don't know if you are interested in it, but I have a bunch of exclusive videos that are available to all Twitch subscribers. If you'd like, hop into the Discord channel and look for supporter alerts, and you'll see in the pinned comments, there's got to be like at least 6 or 7 videos that are not publicly released, but talk a little bit more about the development of the game, if you're into these kinds of streams where we talk about this stuff in more detail. I just did one on hover mode. The return of hover mode, in fact. Why do we think things like elevator problems keep happening, where they solve something for a time, then it breaks again a couple patches later? There's so many weird reasons why. For instance, the problem with NPCs loading in on tables and chairs, they once told us was a problem they fixed, and then it turned out what was happening was, I don't even know if I can remember it now. It was something along the lines of like, the character would be doing something, and all of the players near that character would leave, and so the character itself would be streamed out, but its logic wouldn't be, I believe. Either its logic wouldn't be streamed out and the character was, or the logic would be streamed out and the character wasn't. But there was a disconnect there, and because of that, when somebody else would come to the area, the character would be loaded back in, doing the same thing they were doing when they left, but in a new location, something like a chair. I think that's what they were saying. And like, it was something they fixed, but it came back because of some way that things were loading in. I assume the same thing's happening for elevators. They're doing a lot of coding on the back end for the transit system right now in preparation for server meshing. And that might not even be on the public development branch, but it's possible they could be trying to do something to update those and they just keep breaking it. NPCs are standing on chairs again. They just stand around, only see them move from time to time now. To be honest, I always think of them as being brain dead. I don't really notice when they're working, because they're never working. Ooh, McSkipster, what are you relocating your telescope for? What are you looking at? That's fun. Oops, sorry about that. All right, back to features. In July, the team also started laying the groundwork for FPS devices. There are already some examples of these in the game, such as grenades and mining gadgets. But as the list of devices expands, the team wants to take a more systemic approach to ensure the setup and flow are consistent across the board. This is in the progress tracker. I was just looking at this actually. They were doing, let's see if I can find, here we go. FPS devices tier 1. So they've been doing some work on this for a little while, and it looks like it's finishing up this quarter, or at least the scheduled work is finishing up this quarter. And I really, really hope that one of the things that this includes might be some of the tools that we've seen and haven't had access to. So they've shown us different things like door breaching charges, which are pretty cool. That's a dev. That's not a door breaching charge. They've shown us, let's see. Where are my tools? Come on now. FPS devices, where you at? This is a salvage attachment. This is what we're getting with 318 for salvaging. But there's other stuff. They've also shown us tractor beam concepts. They've shown us the animations for these tractor beams. Hell, they even showed us a crossbow. And then they've also shown us a handheld cutter tool. So these are all things that they've been working on, and I imagine the reason we haven't really been seeing them is A, because the gameplay wasn't ready, but also B, they didn't have a great standardized method for doing these. Everything that they've been making, from derelicts to planets to outposts to NPCs, they've all been kind of starting to systemically make them, put them into categories, create the tools to not dynamically, but I guess, again, systemically put them all together and make sure they're categorized. Seems like that's what they're doing here. And hopefully that means after this, we're going to start to see some of these tools they've shown us before. Yeah, the crossbow is actually an homage to another game. This was, I think it might have been a backer. It might have been a crowdfunding goal. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but the crowdfunding goal is, yeah, it has its own tracker. These all have their own trackers. So like if you go in here and you look for the salvage tool, all of these things have a tracker for them, including the crossbow, but they all fall into the category of FPS tools. But anyways, the crossbow, I believe, in fact, let me look it up because I think it says it here on the description. Is it Ultiflex? Yeah. Nope, it doesn't say it on here, but I believe it's an homage to some game that was coming out back then that Chris was friends with the developer and they decided to work it in. And this is supposed to be like a silent, non-lethal sort of weapon. Civilian NPC AI is shut down when the server is super stressed. Yep. People are getting tired of having to do server jumps a lot just to get around in game. And that is because CIG bad slack on it. CIG bad slack on the servers. Definitely. Yeah, I think they are struggling with getting the servers working for sure. They need that server meshing working. Yeah, cross-promotional thing. That's it. Thank you, Cantor. Shroud of the Avatar. Thank you, Shifty. That's the name of it. I couldn't remember. Non-lethal crossbow. Well, I mean, you know, it always depends on where you shoot them, right? I guess it can be lethal. I was thinking it was a good way to take somebody out without killing them every time, but I guess if you're putting a spear through them, then that's kind of hard to do. Crossbows are more deadly than a gun. Well, ignore me then. All right. Earlier in the year, whoops. Hit the back button. Earlier in the year, the team reported work on code-driven IK. This was them talking about, if you guys remember, grabby hands, using your hands to touch the ground, kind of like our feet do. This system has now been combined with the dynamic hand placement feature mentioned last month. Oh, there that is. Together, this ensures that animators have control over when to use hand placement or not, as well as tweaking some of its settings directly in individual assets. This has allowed the Maya side interface of this new IK system to mature further, with several quality of life improvements. And we do have an example, a very speedy example of the hand placement feature and how that will work specifically while we're EVAing. Pop that up right here. Right here. Oh, this is going to get me DMCA strike, so I won't play the music. So you can see right here when this player kind of comes up to this bar and grabs it. That's the idea. It's nothing too crazy, but it will be helpful because the EVA system is changing. So in reality, in this game, all of our suits have some kind of a power supply, and our EVA air supply is also fueled. It's limited, so you will be able to run out of EVA fuel at some point, and that's why they're bringing in this grabby hands feature where you can move around with your hands in case you wanted to go low power, wear something that's, you know, a little less bulky, or you just enjoy that way of locomotion. Hate to break the news to you, but our next planned wipe will be down for a few hours longer, up to 24, to fix the UEC issue. Where did you hear that? Wait, a few hours longer. So the game's going to be down for 24 hours? Ooh, grenade bolts. That'd be cool. No more T-posing while EVA. You can still do that. That's your other choice. So you can either go in with EVA fuel, you know, all badass doing cool things. You can go in without EVA fuel, grabbing things and moving yourself around, or you could go in T-posing, exerting your dominance on the whole area. It was in that letter. Jeez, that's a long time. They said they weren't going to do that, that they're giving us 1 million instead for the 318 wipe. That's interesting. That sounds like a really bad idea. They should try not to do that if at all possible. But, you know, gotta do what you gotta do. All right, features gameplay. The features team continued to develop life support and engineering gameplay. This is an exciting one. This included work on the Misk Hull A, as it's the first ship with interactable relay points that control resource distribution. So here's the other half of the whole Hammerhead resource management stuff I was talking about earlier. So if we go back and we look at the resource management system in the Hammerhead, this had me thinking that the Hammerhead was going to be the first ship to use these features, because they had a working interface and they talk about it a little bit every time they talk about resource management. But as we read here on the Misk Hull A, the power plant and the fuel tanks now power the system using the new tech, and UI work was extended to allow players to control the temperature per room. So this little thing here gives us the relationship between a relay, a battery, a power plant, a fuel tank, a welcome sign, I don't know what that is, a turret, and lithium ion? I don't know. But the important part's up here: the fuel tank, the power plant, and the battery. If your power plant's off, then your battery's got to kick in. If your fuel tank's empty and your power plant can't work, then your battery has to work. And what they're saying is they've got this relationship now working on the Misk Hull A. As you can see, the power plant is now charging the battery because the fuel tank is turned off, or something along those lines. I don't know. I'm too dumb to know, but you can see that they've worked on this on the engineering side, and they're now confirming to us that this is working on the Misk Hull A, probably internally, probably nowhere near ready for us to be doing it in game. But again, this is one of those background things that is a massive deal. This is a huge deal for power management, resource management, to finally be seeing some tangible progress that really doesn't get talked about all that much. I mean, it's not much. It's just a couple of sentences here. But the fact that we're looking at the possibility of the let me pull up this picture. Actually, there's a picture that shows what the interface, what the early interface looks like for them, and you can see they've got engineering on here. They've got life support. They've got gravity, the ability to control temperature, pressure, vent the room. What is your composition? How is your life support functioning? All of this is linked to power management. In fact, our new VTOL system, which I discussed in the recent exclusive video, is linked to the heat system, which is also linked to this power management system. So this is like huge. It's got hands all over the game. It's going to be affecting outposts, ships, space stations, like I was saying. This is a big one. And they finally got some form of it working on one of the ships in game. So over the next probably 6 to 8 months, we'll hear more and more about the development of this, but it's good to keep an eye on. It might just be a couple sentences here in this monthly report, but whatever patch this comes in, it will probably be one of the standout features. I'm excited for this one, and we'll keep covering it every time it comes up on the monthly report. We'll look into it a little bit deeper. Pretty freaking cool though. I'm excited for that. Orange Joe, thank you for subscribing. Much appreciated, that tier 1 sub. Getting that raffle started for everybody on Twitch. ! Join if you'd like. There are different temps in the 400i. If you're in the sections with the components, it becomes cooler. Yeah, they've got the cooling room in there. Could these be ran through your MFDs in the cockpit, do you think? I think a certain amount of it will, yeah, but for the most part, it'll be in your engineering console on your ship. But like for single seat fighters and stuff, you're gonna have to have some way of changing that stuff around from your cockpit, right? How much will relays cost? Oh boy. I don't know, but that's actually a good question, because those components, I mean, these are our money sinks, right? If you're running your ship too hot, if you're going too hardcore with your ship and you're burning out your relays and causing all these problems and outages throughout your ship, you're going to need an engineer who's running around the ship and replacing those relays, and you're going to have to keep stocked up on them. So for larger ships, definitely relays and subcomponents are going to be a money sink. Unless you fly responsibly. And that's not an alcohol statement. All right, in features gameplay as well, another big feature, hull scraping is progressing well, with the team focusing on creating the commodity boxes and repair ammunition at the dedicated filler station in the Reclaimer and the Vulture. So this is the first version of salvage. We've been waiting for this for longer than anybody has the right to wait for a game feature. Like, I really wish they just hadn't talked about this for years, but we have been told that salvage was coming every year since 2016, I think. I want to say almost every year. Maybe they missed one or two in there, but salvage overall has been the biggest tease of anything in any video game ever, the most delayed feature I've ever seen. And really, I think it came down to the fact that they just didn't have the proper supporting gameplay features to do it, and for some reason they didn't just admit that. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's going to take a lot of research and digging to try and figure out what the heck happened with the salvage feature, but it does seem like finally this year it is actually going to happen. We've seen some examples of it. We've seen them showing us them doing it with both the ship and with the FPS tool at this point. We've been reading about it in monthly reports pretty regularly. So this is the Vulture, which is currently doing some salvage hull stripping. Again, it's not the full version of salvage. This is like 15% of what salvage will be. This is just the first implementation, the very first basic version, the beginner's version that everybody can do. And it works on the ship. It also works on the multi-tool with the salvage attachment. So like I said, we've been waiting for this for a while, and this is going to be one of the biggest career additions to the game in a long time. The last major career added to the game was mining back in 2018. We got medical gameplay, but it's a career, but not quite like this. So this is a big deal. Happy to see it. Happy to be reading about it so regularly in the monthly report. That's usually a good sign that it's on track for implementation update that they want. Do I make all my own background music? No. I use a mixture of music from Stream Beats by Harris Heller and artlist.io, which is down in my video description, my stream description, if you'd like to check that service out. It's a great service for royalty-free music, but it is a bit expensive. People gonna draw lewd stuff on your ships. You know, maybe my ship will sell for more after they do that, right? Yeah, Anno is pointing out that one of the things we're not really hearing about much in the monthly reports is the cargo refactor. I think there's probably two possibilities for why that's the case. First, it's wildly behind and probably won't make it this year. In which case, I think they would have said something already. Maybe they're not sure if it's going to make it still, and so they're staying quiet about it. But I do think that is a possibility. The other possibility is that the cargo refactor is coming in waves, and the first version is not going to be as big a deal as it could be, and so they don't want to start saying stuff and getting people overly excited. But I think their silence is doing more damage, because I think people have the wrong idea of what the cargo refactor is going to be. Isn't it weird that you can have reaction videos with music, but it can't just be in the background of streams? You mean like when you react to videos that have music? You got to be careful with that, actually. I try not to react to too many things that are official because I'm scared of that stuff. Orange Joe and Iandros, thank you both for the subs. I hope that I acknowledged those before, but if I didn't, very sorry. Oh, like reactions of songs. Huh. Never even thought of that. Will we get persistent hangers? I don't think we'll be getting them this year. I was looking into that earlier today, and it looks like they're still a ways out. If we go to persist, and you look at the hangers, you can see that their work is still going into Q4 of 2022. And I think there's a good possibility that we won't see it until next year. On this episode of... what? CIG pretends to be developing a game, meanwhile back on the ranch, new concept ships. Aaron, what the hell? I don't work at CIG, so I'm not asking you for money. I don't know. Sometimes people make comments that I feel like came from other videos. Like I don't work at CIG. I'm not trying to whatever. Anyways, stream to YouTube using the music from their own site, that way they don't mute you. Squadron 42 should bring us closer to NPC crew. No, yeah, that's definitely, they'll develop it for Squadron 42 first, I think. It's because Google has lost all the talent, or they would have simply made it so a streamer can select an optional second music video to play alongside their stream ×2 revenue. Well, they do have, I mean, I'm using YouTube Music right now, so it kind of works like that. Like, I think actually I can show you. If we go to this screen, you can kind of see YouTube Music over here on my other computer. So this is what I use to stream, and I guess technically that brings the music back to YouTube, but it would be cool if they could integrate that better into their streaming service so that it play the game a little bit more, like you said. If Tomato would work for CIG, I want money for money. If I worked for CIG, I want enough money to live in America, please. Came across your YouTube videos recently, has really been helping me get deeper into Star Citizen. Thanks all you do. Thank you, Orange Joe. Appreciate you dropping in here. I've said a few times the cargo refactor won't be what people think it will be. What do people think, and what do you think? A lot of people think that the cargo refactor means manual loading and unloading of ships. having to get all of that cargo off the station into your ship and stuff like that. And I don't think that's going to happen until what was asked about. I think that, who was that? Shifty that asked? Whoever asked about persistent hangars. I don't think that's going to happen until we have persistent hangars. Because if you read here, it says this will also bring changes to the cargo gameplay loop by allowing players to pack their grids manually. If you go to the cargo refactor, they don't talk anything about manually packing ships. They just talk about the fact that the cargo is physicalized. This refactor allows both found and purchased cargo to be picked up, moved around, and placed into the cargo grid of a ship, but nothing necessarily about the cargo gameplay. And then if you go to commodity kiosks, yeah, you see that this is a task that is based on adding loading timers, which will need to be factored in when planning cargo runs. And this was finished about the same time as the cargo refactor. So I'm thinking the commodity kiosks, these loading timers, and the fact that you can at least work with the cargo that gets loaded onto your ship means that yes, we will have cargo timers that make us plan more for cargo loading. I don't think it's going to be a full physical process though. I don't think there's going to be NPCs loading your ships. I don't think it's going to be that in depth. First off, I think it's just going to be about making sure that cargo you buy and cargo you find out in the verse both work the exact same way. And then I think they'll continue to add on to it with the updates that follow. All CIG has said about the initial refactor is that cargo containers will be physicalized. Yeah. Making it the piracy patch. You're all about that, huh, Lucid? What do I use for video editing and making animations? I use a mixture of Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve for editing, depending on what I'm working with. For animations, I actually hire one of my friends, another Star Citizen player, and he does all of my animations. I used to do them myself. I felt like they weren't really high enough quality, so he kind of took those over and started making them a lot better. In fact, I think I could show you like a quick comparison of my animation to his, and you can get a good idea of how much different they are. So let's see. I think I have something here about scanning. Oh, Taryn with the 100 bits. The pizza fund. Thank you, Taryn. As always, super reliable with that. So like this is, that's combat, ISC reaction, survival gameplay. Where's long distance probing? Okay, so this is kind of what I would do normally for my animations, and I was using DaVinci Resolve for all of this. This is what it looks like when I animate stuff. And it's like not, oh wow, that's really long. It's not terrible. It's just not like super refined. I didn't really know what I was doing. So I was kind of just doing stuff and hoping for the best, and it made sense, I think, as you can see. But then when you look at his animations, the money goes to good use. You can see that like he's got a lot better movements and elements and like cool stuff going on. So he uses After Effects for that, and so whenever I'm working with him, I edit with Premiere Pro. But usually I like to stick to DaVinci Resolve. Long distance probing. Wink. You were hoping that wasn't going to be the case? Oh, you were talking to somebody else. .18 next year? I don't think 3.18 will be next year. I think it'll still be this year. Personally, you think PES needs to be worked on before the cargo refactor? That's why you keep saying the cargo refactor or PES will get delayed, or the whole patch will be delayed to the end of the year. If one was going to get delayed, I'd say it'd be the cargo refactor. That's what that's what I would guess. Why is it always probing? 'Cause we all love the probe. Oh, you're actually not interested in piracy yourself, Lucid. I see. Lucky to have him. Indeed. He's great at his work. He does fantastic work. He's helped me with my intro for my channel, my outros. He helps me with branding on the channels and all that kind of stuff. He actually helps with some of the org art too. So very, very, very helpful and super lucky to have him. He raises the quality of the videos quite a bit. You're calling a December release? I'm hoping that we get it at least by IAE. Do we have an update on the current state of 3.18? We don't. That's what we were just talking about, though. All right. Where were we? We took a decent break there. Graphics, VFX, programming, and Planet Tech. They recently added Planet Tech to this section. Not sure why, but I guess it works. Get out of here, bot. Get out of here. Screw off. July saw the implementation of a dynamic bit set data structure, which replaces the T-joint bit set, of course, as well as the investigation and testing of offline damage maps with persistence. The team also worked on separating CPU and GPU implementation, ensuring they result in the same damage map. The team finished porting gas clouds to Gen 12 and fixed several issues, including a GPU crash related to this feature. Work began on Vulkan's scaleform functionality and particle mesh rendering in Gen 12. Progress was also made on port refraction and light beams to Gen 12. As you can tell, Gen 12 is important. They talk about it a lot. A lot of people are working on it. If you would like to, I did just have a stream like 2 weeks ago, I think. If you look back in my streams on YouTube, I streamed with one of the guys who is working on Gen 12, and he had a couple things to mention here and there about it. But maybe we can lock him down and talk to him a little bit more later. Not to get any new information per se, but to answer some questions that maybe still have unsure answers in people's minds. Canvas decal texture streaming was sped up, and the image testing now waits for it to complete. Support for silhouettes on editor entity objects was added alongside improvements to render item sorting to make it consistent at different runs. Hair color and specular improvements were finished for the hair shader. There were also updates to tessellation and displacement on the organic shader. For jump points, the team focused on branching tunnels, which included fixing situations where the connecting segments self-intersect. Hair color is good. I'd like to be able to have black hair, please. We might be able to have black hair. That's just a joke. For jump points, the team focused on branching tunnels. That's an interesting thing. The jump points are not something that's discussed very much, but have also been talked about quite a bit. And this is again one of those instances where you get like 1 or 2 sentences of insight that kind of gives us a little more info. And you get these throughout the year and kind of have to combine it all together to get a good picture. But this is talking about the multiple tunnels in a jump point. So going back to the idea that they talked about where you get into a jump point, you might be going through a general area, but when you're leaving that jump point, you're having kind of a Swiss cheese approach for all that, get their Swiss cheese with holes cut in it. And the idea that you could exit at multiple areas. So if you're going through a jump point at the same time as somebody else, you might take a different branch from them and end up, who knows, 10 kilometers, 200 kilometers away from them. I think this will help a lot with stopping people from camping jump points, since they will be a very central area for players to hang out and arrive. It'll keep pirates and PvP players from kind of easily getting the jump on players as they come out of that gate, giving you a chance to get your bearings. Mark my words, you will still be having the same discussions about the same slow dev and dumpster fire that is Star Citizen in another decade. Aaron, tell me this. Do you think that we're having the same conversations as we were a year ago? Like, do you think that we were talking about the salvage gameplay showing up, or the Gen 12 stuff being finalized, or the cargo refactor, or better yet, the derelict ships that have been added? What exactly are you talking about in terms of slow development? Which part do you see being the problem? Because I think that there are definitely points to critique with the development of Star Citizen. I think there are things that you can look at and be like, okay, that's kind of a problem. But I'm also waiting for you to like put something specific down that I can agree with. No one has fun playing Star Citizen. They just pretend so they don't have to. Oh my god. You know you can play Star Citizen for free, right? You don't have to put in money to play the game. I mean, come on, man. Moist Noodle, what's up, man? You're reacting to Space Tomato Live. Should I pull up your stream and react to you reacting to me?
We're gonna get stuck in a never-ending circle of reactions.
No, I don't. No,
what
no,
a
no.
handsome man. Have
Can
you
you
ever seen anyone so handsome in your life?
Oh my God! Look at this.
Smile.
Look at the. This is gonna go. This is gonna be wild.
Hi,
Hey,
everyone.
hey, Noodle.
Space Tomatoes chat.
How you doing, man?
Oh, this is amazing.
Look at all of us.
I love it.
All of us here together. I love
He's
it.
friggin' dreamy. He is dreamy, isn't
This
he?
is why I stream.
Smile. And he's not far from me either.
I was just talking to Noodle the other day, or yesterday. We were talking about his
Twitch chat
cool,
better than YouTube
his little
chat, just saying.
relax spot in the house. Okay, this is getting very disorienting. I'm all done. Thank you for joining in on this stream, though, man. Let's keep going. Jeez, what a crazy. Thank you for that super chat, by the way, Cantor. Go eat a Snickers. Go eat a Snickers, or like watch a video about the game. I mean, like, case in point, you don't have to spend money to play this game. You can't say that everybody's playing this game because they feel bad about the money they've spent if you have people who are playing the game for free. But, you know, that, I don't know. The Planet Tech team made improvements to the world and biome builder by moving mesh building to background jobs, substantially reducing stutters in editor. There were also fixes for mismatching physics meshes on servers, as well as a refactor of procedural entities, which improved planet loading times. 4-point Bezier curves were also added to river generation alongside general improvements to the river placement tool. Collision detection was added to Rastar to prevent modules from being placed. So let me go ahead and give a little look at the rivers, because the work they did on the new river placement tool is actually very cool. Let me see if I can find it on here. I don't know if I've actually cut up that video yet. I might not have that footage saved. Come on, please, please, please tell me it's there. No? Okay, maybe I have the video downloaded and I can still pull it up. Yep, here it is. So we could just jump to the actual spot. They actually open up with it in this segment, but you can see that this dude has absolutely killed it with this new river selection tool. So basically, he can now, instead of creating a river by selecting each point the river is on, I think this might be the Bezier curve stuff that they're talking about. He can essentially drag his cursor all over a planet, and the tool itself will tell you, hey, this is where a river makes sense based on where your cursor is. This is how the river will flow. So you can see that, like, as he drags it around, the actual direction of the river changes. And once he actually selects the spot, it physicalizes that path, and he can then go in and look into that path, see if it's good, understand how the river will flow, and then it goes beyond that. So this is basically him running a query that says how many rivers can be formed on this planet. It gives him 7 rivers, and he can go in and set a criteria for that river. How long does it need to be? How many attempts are you gonna try? How many steps are in the river? What kind of biome is the river in? Does that make sense? And then he can go and look on the list of rivers and jump to each one and specifically select whether or not they should exist or not. But this is basically the second part of the testing. They started with the river placement back in May, I think it was. So we can actually look at this. This is the first time they talked about placing the rivers, and you can see that tool was, actually this isn't the first time, this is the second time, but it was the first time with the new builder. And you can see that the tool that they were using was all about the one specific river and the nodes that were being used for it. And obviously that is a small example of placing a river, something that they had to build up and figure out before they could go to a full system-wide system. And sorry, I'm just looking to see if I can find one more video. No, I don't think I have it downloaded, unfortunately. Oh, here it is. So this is actually the first time they ever talked about rivers. As you can see, same guy. He's still working on it. And this was like the basics. Terrain deformation. That's actually more about bases and stuff. Here we go. Placing each node separately. Like, you can see the progress that they made on this system. And I know rivers aren't a big deal, but I think this is kind of indicative of the different things that they do when they're creating these tools and working on this stuff. And it's pretty cool to see it go from that to a full planet-wide system. I think it's going to be awesome. You started in 2014, your 4K and your friend started at the same time is only $45 in. Yeah, I mean, whatever people are comfortable with. I don't know what the conversation is going towards, but I'll just keep going with the monthly report. So the river tool is cool. The other side of that sentence was the Rastar tool. This is actually probably more exciting to people. Let's see if I have any footage of that as well. Here we go. So this is the Rastar tool. And the first time we saw this was last year. This was the base building tool that they've been working on. They haven't had it before, so they've never been able to make outposts very quickly. But now they have this tool that procedurally can put down objects on a base. It can actually flatten the ground around. So like you see, all of the outposts we used to have all these stilts because they couldn't flatten the ground before, believe it or not, with the way that the procedural planet tech generation went. The team that made bases couldn't actually make their bases. So they had to put them on stilts. But now they have this tool that allows them to go in, drop a base into a flattened patch, and not think anything else of it. So because they created that tool to flatten the ground, they've also been able to double down on the tool that allows them to place bases. And they call it the Rastar tool. It's what they're using to build the new outposts. And eventually, they will be finalizing this so that we can use it. This is the very first views we get of what we'll be using to build bases in the future, which I think is also pretty exciting. So it's fun to hear them talk about Rastar and these things as well. Not a big amount, but at least they mentioned it. Rivers are an amazing thing. Can't wait to just set down a ship next to a river, pull out a fishing rod, and hang out there with a couple of friends who just did the same. And then somebody comes by and blows all your ships away by flying past. Now I'm working on a bank to give loans in game. Some people are still are also like Salty Mike selling stuff in game, which is pretty cool. Starting a little storefront. All right, on to the lighting team. Last month, lighting's primary task was making headway into their backlog of tech and dev debt. This is a list of tasks or bugs that have built up that they either didn't have time to work on or weren't high enough priority to tackle immediately. For the most part, this work entailed minor polish notes for Orison and fixing minor bugs across other locations. They then moved on to supporting the new sand cave location archetype. Compared to rocky caves, sand caves feature more natural dappled light filtering in from the surface above to create a very different mood and atmosphere. Now, you can't just start throwing holes into the ceilings of caves and not expect us to try and drop stuff in there, right? We're all going to be playing around with these caves and trying to find these extra openings. And I'm wondering, is there going to be a cave system where I'm like walking around on Daymar and I can actually track the cave underground because they're getting these cave openings? Or is it going to be a little less true? Knowing the CIG way of doing things, I feel like it's going to be more along those lines where you can find the multiple openings, but I don't know. Here's a quick video clip though that they showed of these new cave types. As you can see, this sand design mainly focuses on those skylights. But also they seem to be a little bit more complex and have some more interesting geometry. I'm really hoping that we get that repelling for this stuff so we can drop in from those holes. If there are holes, maybe they're just lights coming from the ceiling. I don't know. Yeah, they do look cool, and it's nice to have some variety in the caves finally. I hope After this, they move on to ice caves. They then moved on to supporting the new sand cave. We already said that. They also completed a lightning pass on the upcoming Origin 600i and Crusader Mercury derelict crash sites, integrating the nearby settlements into the landscape and stripping out the lighting from the ships. Still, they're not super clear as to whether or not, they're still not super clear as to whether or not those ships are together or if they're separate crash sites that are gonna have settlements. I think they're together. They make it sound like they're just kind of different parts from these different ships used for this settlement. Yeah, jetpack would be nice. I always imagined that having access to our EVA thrusters while we're in atmosphere would be a good way to help us with like extra jumps and stuff like that. Lastly, they worked on a full lighting pass of the upcoming racing circuit being added to the Orison Convention Center, which we saw in ISC last week, which was really cool. I love that. I know some people think it's a waste of time. I think it's great that a dev was able to do something a little cool like that with their extra time, just to throw something in there. And I think it actually makes a big difference to a lot of people. A lot of people are definitely excited about racing, and racing hasn't really gotten much focus. Aaron, you can call people a cult and say that they can't accept any criticism, but you're really not setting yourself up for success when you come in with your first message cussing at people and calling everybody, telling everybody that they're hopeless and the game's not going to happen. I mean, like, if you come in first and present some solid criticism, people agree with it. I mean, you could honestly go and look at my previous podcast episodes, all 3 of them. I've been called too negative for them, but very definitely criticize the game. A lot of people criticize the game. I think it's just a matter of how you present your criticism and arguments that makes people react differently, is all. And you kind of see that in every aspect of life at this point, because people are really fiery about their opinions. All right. Narrative. Over the past month, Narrative tackled tasks ranging from mission content to lore. On the mission front, the team generated text for the latest Reclaimer missions, as well as a variety of new delivery missions while working with the design teams in Montreal and the UK. I like the Reclaimer mission. I think it's pretty cool. It's very simple. It's not like the ultimate mission, but I appreciate having some more diverse missions to do in different locations, different vehicles, with different backstories. So was watching vids on YouTube while working, and the stream came on via YouTube, again, while working. I've been listening to almost this whole stream thinking it was pre-recorded until just now. Well, welcome, Kuno, to the stream. That's interesting. YouTube just kind of, or actually, no, you're on YouTube, I'm guessing. YouTube just kind of throws that into people's feeds. After a decade, it should be obvious. Why? I mean, I hate to do this because they're not the same caliber, but like a lot of projects take a long freaking time and go over time to finish. It doesn't mean that they're failures. It just means that they took too long, or not too long, but they took longer than people were hoping or expecting. Definitely taken longer than I've expected, and I'm not happy about that. The amount of time this game has taken has pissed me off. It's pissed me off that it's taken so long for me to not fall through ships, or for me to be able to walk down the hallway without lagging, or for me to be able to get in a ship and do some salvage. Like, nobody is saying that that's not a problem, but there's focusing on that problem and continuing to focus on the negatives and what the problem is. And there's also acknowledging those problems, bringing attention to them, and then also moving on to the stuff that actually excites and interests us and causes us to be here. If I only wanted to focus on all the bad things, I wouldn't be covering this game. I cover it because I enjoy what they're doing. I enjoy what's being done. And even though it is not a resounding success at any point, even though it has taken a long time to work, even though they have some business practices that I don't necessarily agree with, what is good and what is happening far outweighs anything that makes me want to go away from it, because I've waited a long time for a space game where I can play something that's interactive, that's fun, that's visceral, that's immersive, and nobody else is doing it. If somebody else was doing this better, I would go back them and I'd cover that game. But that's what I always come back to. If I leave Star Citizen, what am I gonna do? go cover No Man's Sky. I love that game, but come on, that's not the same type of game. It's like, it's the same reason that you see people still playing Anthem. That game is dead. They don't care about that game, but people love it. Let them love it. Let people enjoy what they like. We can still discuss what's wrong, but you don't have to tell people not to enjoy it. That's, I don't know. That's where I come from. Unless, you know, it's hurting other people, in which case, like, stop it. Screw you. Where were we though? July continued several other ongoing conversations into the development of new mission types, one of which presents a unique fusion of narrative and design. We read about this on the monthly report last month, and June monthly report, there it is. And I'm excited for this, because when narrative is getting involved in missions, then, let's see, where did they say? So they continued their work on a new mission archetype planned for future release, saying more narratively intense than other missions. It has been an exciting challenge for us to figure out solutions for offering the players a compelling story while ensuring replayability and scalability. Compelling story is what this game is just sorely lacking when it comes to missions, and I'm excited to hear them talk about making those missions and focusing more on giving us something to appreciate when we're running the missions. You kind of get that with like the Reclaimer mission with the Nine Tails narrative, but it sounds like they're getting deeper into it, which is good. The team met with the environment and design teams to talk over Pyro's shops and overall economy to help differentiate the player experience from Stanton. To help support this, missed my spot. To help support this, the team continued to work through mocap data for the Frontier vendors captured at the end of June to get it into the pipeline. 2 new narrative directors recently joined the team, designers, not directors, who have initially been tasked to other teams to learn the setup and software. These roles will ultimately provide narrative support in the technical areas of design, setup, and voice packs to make the characters and locations feel closer to the intended vision and tone. Always happy to hear the narrative team is adding more people. This company constantly has jobs open. They have like, I want to say like 100 job openings at all times. It seems like the game industry is pretty cutthroat right now in terms of hiring and stuff, but CIG is really trying to expand, and it seems like they're always looking to add new people, so it's cool that they let us know when new people are joining these teams. This topic's endless. Let's just focus on the news. Yeah, I'm trying to focus on the monthly report. Where were we? Meetings were also held with the in-game branding team in Montreal, which, yes, believe it or not, they have in-game branding, to review the various in-game corporations and manufacturers to standardize their looks, themes, and colors. Since so much of our marketing exists as in-fiction content, this will establish a consistent tone and voice for the companies, whether they're appearing in-game or out. Can we just all agree that the freelancer, the tone of the freelancer marketing commercial, the first one, needs to roll over to be part of the rest of MISC's marketing? Just listen to this commercial. This is so good. If you haven't seen this, you've missed out.
Comes over the spectrum with a job.
Let's see,
All
can
it
I...
says is an amount of cargo, a delicate timetable, and a risky route. You know you've got 42 cubic meters to pack full of profit. We're talking pressurized and shock-resistant construction, so whatever you put in here comes out the same way. You got 2 Arc Duo 400 engines. Their award-winning colloid ion technology gives you maximum fuel efficiency while keeping your SIG low.
Keeping your SIG low.
You come across a couple of pirates.
Hey, Lancer, you know the drill.
But with a weapons system featuring trusted names like Bering and Kronik, you aren't too worried.
Boing.
Commercial vessel, freelancer class. Red tags look good. Cleared for landing at Area 18.
So this is fantastic. I've always really liked this commercial.
They come to
This is a super old commercial. It's they've actually done an updated freelancer commercial that goes away from this style, but I hope that they swivel back towards it because it's so good. I love it. But it's cool that they're talking about this, you know, making sure that they have a consistent tone across the brands in game. Because let's be honest, we're gonna need a lot of messaging regarding the companies, because like you can fight companies, you can kill companies, you can rob from companies. You can't kill companies, you can kill people that work for companies, rob companies, live in company cities, work for companies, all this stuff. At the end of the day, you need to know which companies are doing what. Like a lot of people don't realize the company that owns the planet ArcCorp also makes components that you're flying in your ship. Very well could be in the future that if you work for ArcCorp, live on their planet, you get discounts for their components. It's nice to recognize that without having to do research. So it's good that they're focusing on making sure the branding is very apparent and in your face, because it's going to get more and more important with the reputation system. How old is that one? Oh, it's got to be 8 years old, 9 years old. That was one of the older. That was a while ago. Yeah, Stanton is just a bunch of companies. Like, we gotta know. Same goes for things like gangs. Ninetales branding was not Ninetales branding up until this year. It used to be like cyan blue and just like some random armor that was colored in their colors, but now they actually have like the Ninetales logos, the purple trademark and all that stuff. And it's like, definitely makes a big difference when that stuff is starting to match up. And it helps sell the lore. I love that. They also published another edition of Shubin Employees Letters Mining Rocks, a portfolio on Ninetales, and original Untold Tales about a shocking discovery. I don't know if I've read that Untold Tales. Which one is this? Ghost Ship from Beyond Saturn. I don't know if I've read this. Awesome. I'll have to read this later. So that's just some of the stuff that they do. The narrative posts are interesting. They actually do share a bit about the game and get you updated on lore and stuff. A uncomfortable penguin. Oh, I like to make sure every penguin is comfortable. Especially Happy Feet. That used to be such a freaking favorite of mine. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. $20, much appreciated from YouTube. Just watched the Salty Mike podcast. It was great. Thanks for making so much good content. Of course, that's the goal. Just trying to make good, informative content, leaning both ways, informing in every way we can. It's fun to do, and I'm happy it helps people. Who? You don't even see his comments. Whose comments? Oh, people are still responding. Yeah, guys. Don't worry about that talk. Tech Animation is where we're at. The Tech Animation team continued to invest time into the tool's codebase. Years of development and quick fixes are being triaged, consolidated, and revamped to fully conform to their coding standards and modularize the codebase to be more accessible to the technical animators. Does anybody feel like we're seeing a lot more focus on tech debt in this monthly report? I don't recall it being that so much in the last month, but I could see it being a trend of this year, just kind of tackling tech debt as server meshing is coming up and things need to be updated. I don't know if it's confirmation bias though or not, but it does seem like they're talking a lot about tech debt and getting stuff updated in this report. Alongside this though, they're currently developing and integrating several new tool chains, CGA and skin loading, wink wink, in Maya, RBF solver development, and SSD and Alembic animation pipeline support. Their future development roadmap is also in planning. That's a weird... Oh, the Tech Animations development roadmap, okay. Yeah, we don't really block people in the chat here. Everybody's free to talk what they want to talk. As long as they're like being reasonable. Star Streams Hey, my friend, good to see you. Yo, if you're on YouTube, hit up Star Streams. If you haven't already watched the stream, go check him out. Make some good thumbnails, does some good content. All around great person. I appreciate everything you do, Star Streams. I need to definitely drop into your streams more, man. But thank you for dropping by. QT effect was nice in that trailer. Yeah, it was pretty cool. They're supposed to be redoing quantum travel again soon. I think they might actually mention it down here in VFX, but we'll get there. Online services. The online services team worked on performance improvements to the entity graph service in July, unlocking substantial performance gains, in some cases double-digit percentages. Can you please bring those double-digit percentages over to my frame rates? Please and thank you. Bug fixing and character reset testing were done for the new login flow. And get this, they then moved on to phase 2 of Refactor, Ledger, and Wallet, which will change how currency is handled in game. How? What does that mean? That's kind of a mystery. I'm guessing. I don't think that this has anything to do with the actual Moby-Glass, since this is the online services team. This is like the back end part of it. But maybe this is some foreshadowing of updated, what is it called? MoTrader app. Maybe the MoTrader app will be fleshed out to be more about your budget and your resources rather than just the money you're sending to people. I don't know. Pumped you're getting your stream deck tomorrow and going to attempt to play SC at 20 FPS on it. Oh, your Steam Deck. Oh boy, good luck. That sounds intense. That last letter from Chris kind of hinted that tech debt was going to be the big focus. They kind of hit a point where it was becoming unavoidable, especially with the big player numbers. Yeah, I wonder if they were trying to wait until after server meshing was done to really tackle it, and they just realized they can't wait anymore. Or if it was the plan to always do it kind of in anticipation. 124, 6 left, 125. What's 125? Oh, the likes on the stream. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Good to see you really dig this kind of content. So I've heard. That's why I'm here. I've realized that people really like these monthly report streams, so want to continue these. Also going to start doing more streams that focus on the roadmap roundups, roadmap updates, and the other information they're putting out. So like next stream, if we're not doing a new player stream, is going to be about 318, kind of a preview. We did it 130 Star Streams. Absolutely excellent campaign. You're a great lobbyer. Maybe you should sign up for the government. Is that a thing? You just sign up for the government? Hey, government! Look, I've signed up. Stupid tomato. Where were we? Bug fixing and character reset were done. We did that. The team also completed the new Chrono service, which offers a programmatic API for distributed timers and alarms. For example, in the expiry of rental entitlements. Wonder what else they're going to do with that. When that comes, you will see hundreds of people around you no matter where you go in the verse. You talking about server meshing? Holy crap, 137. What just happened? Y'all went like crazy. Thank you. I appreciate you, Star Streams. Thanks, man. I signed up. Where's my clearance? Where's my security clearance? Look, I signed to this paper. Give me all the goods. Give me all the deets. Live Tools in Montreal. For anybody who doesn't know, this company, part of which taken a while to build this game, is the engine. For starters, they are still, we can literally go up to the engine segment and see that they are, where is it? Still building out core engine functions. And yes, that can be quite annoying. But also, when I do research on making engines, and this is one of the supporter videos I'm working on writing, it sounds like they're really hard. It's hard to put into perspective because a lot of the ways that it works is like games come out on game engines before they're actually ready, and the game engines keep getting developed. But for instance, like Snowdrop, which I think became publicly available in 2012 or 2013, that's Ubisoft's engine, took them like 6 years, They started in 2007, 2012, so like 5 years to get it to a point where they could start using it, and they continued to develop it. So looking at different stories like that, I also looked into the story of Unreal Engine when they first started making it. The Slip Space engine that Halo Infinite runs on was in development for, I think, 7 years. A lot of these engines take a lot of work, so that has taken a lot of time. But also what's taken a lot of time is they have like 5 studios, I think, in 4 different countries. They have a studio in Frankfurt, Germany, Manchester, England, Austin, Texas, Los Angeles, California, Montreal, Canada. So it's taken a lot of time for them to kind of develop the network and the background and the system to be able to work efficiently across those different teams. So I think that's also added a lot of time onto that development. Yeah, engine development never really stops is definitely what it seems to be. And trying to find a minimum viable state for an engine, one that's doing this, seems to be a challenge. And part of that might be because they went with the wrong engine when they started. Who knows? CryEngine may not have been the best choice, but that's what they chose, and they've ripped it up and kind of made it their own as the star engine. And it's been difficult for them. I'm just glad to finally see it starting to make some good steps forward. Hydration reminder, everybody. Get your water. Get your water. I just wanted to know what that did. Yeah, it's just a little fun thing. All right, so anyways, Live Tools in Montreal. Sorry about that little tangent. The Live Tools team implemented a new way to log into Hex 3.0's Network Operations Center and manage the different roles and permissions. Because usability of the tool is crucial, a survey is currently open among its frequent users. The team has analyzed the feedback collected so far and is working on different solutions to improve the NOC's design and usability. Hex is kind of a shadow term. That's a dumb name for it. It's just relatively in your face. The only time I've ever seen Hex is when we were looking at quantum stuff. Now, in order to show that, I need to find quantum stuff. Believe it, I've got it on it somewhere here though. You won't wait too long. Here we go. So this is the quantum simulation tool. This is the economy driver. This is the AI simulator. This is what's eventually supposed to make the game go around and function with a real working and living economy. And if you look up in the top left-hand corner here, you see that the software that they use to run this, their internal tool, is called Hex. So I think what Hex is kind of their overarching persistent universe admin console, almost. It's what they are going to use to do all kinds of things like affect supply change and change the economies and keep track of the AI and what they're doing. It all lives here in the Hex tool. So we don't get to hear about it much, but that's the one place I've seen it referenced. Oh, is it covered by the sub goal? Hold on. Wait for it. Wait for it. Get out of here. Right here. It says Hex in the top left-hand corner. So whenever you see these interfaces, keep an eye out for that, because it's kind of interesting to see what runs on it. Now, I don't think we saw... Did they have that in the previous one? So in one of their other talks, it didn't say Hex on the top, and I wasn't sure if that was because they just excluded it from the footage or what. I'm pretty sure it's because they just excluded the whole interface. But I'm pretty sure this is still using the Hex tool, all this simulation going on. So it's making it look more like Eve, but only for the devs. When they showed it off the first time, a lot of people were like, can you guys just give us that as a game? Like, I just want a star system simulator, kind of like Stellaris. There wasn't and still isn't a ready-made engine that has everything SC needs. Yeah, which is why they had to build it. It's 100% unplayable and you restart the game 20 times, if not more, and still that's after a long time. That doesn't seem like much. It hasn't worked in the past. There's a 200+ player issue post on it too. Trying to track down what this is about. was a lot of bots. Thank you mods. Thank you Anno for staying on top of that. Total death count 101. Yep, I've died 101 times this year. Slow with these bots. No, those got deleted immediately. Couldn't be any faster with the bots. There's 2 comments, one saying we're fast with the bots, one saying we're slow with them. What's with these bots? It's just a problem on YouTube. Like, YouTube has really, really bad problems with comment spam and on videos and streams. And then we've got people like Dalkurth here who are bots getting in here pretending like they're humans. All right, the live, I don't think yeah, I did read this. Okay, Turbulent on the web platform, also in Montreal. Last month, Turbulent's web platform team worked on a cleanup of the Misk and Crusader skins in the CMS tool. Can anybody clarify what the CMS tool is? Because we see them a lot, and I never really am sure what it's referring to. They then designed a wireframing page to better communicate patch status. In the pledge store, the team worked on creating clearer disclaimers around Warbond SKUs, concept standalone ships, and buyback rules related to discounts. The community team continued to work on new features for the community hub, adding moderation and an honor system in July. The community hub is getting reworked. It sounds like it's going to be a pretty big part of the experience coming up. Finally, for Turbulent, the backend infrastructure team upgraded PHP, making the backend more efficient and organized and adhering to code standards. Mufasal, thank you for the super chat, my friend. The $20 support, much appreciated. Seriously, that's huge. Can't point out enough how much the parallels between Red Dead Online and Star Citizen development show that CIG's willingness to refactor core tech should keep hope alive for SC. 10 years of wasted time from Rockstar. Didn't they just shut down? Didn't they just announce that they're stopping most development on Red Dead Online to move on to Grand Theft Auto 6? I'm saying those women don't want to meet you. No. The bots totally want to meet you. Yeah, they're all about it. Hey, let's keep our discourse civil, guys. CryEngine Lumberyard is already at the limits, and if CIG would use the other engine, they wouldn't need to write custom stuff that other engines already have. Ooh. Eesh. But if they used another engine, this game would die. If they switched to another engine at this point, this game would be done. Oh my gosh. That'd be such a disaster. I mean, I'm not big on... I don't know game development that much, only from what I've learned from this, but even just the Planet Tech would be such a huge loss to this game. That the engine at its limits and that another off-the-shelf engine wouldn't need drastic customization is 100% false in all aspects. Well, yeah. I mean, every game that is looking to not be like a normal generic game. I mean, if you're making a game that's not an action-adventure game, honestly, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not even going to finish that sentence, but I assume any game really needs custom work on the engine. And if you're trying to do as much weird, crazy stuff as Star Citizen is doing, I can't imagine taking a bargain bin engine and trying to work on that. YouTube chat is not cultured. I mean, it's YouTube chat has a ways to go to catch up with Twitch chat. Twitch chat's been around for years. It's got its own thing. I actually was talking with one of the Gen 12 people working on the rendering engine about if they had switched to Unreal Engine. And I mean, I can see what they said. It was a while back. Let's see. Let me, real quick. I don't want to say anything that I'm not allowed to say. Let me just read this real quick. Yeah, basically it sounds like it comes down a lot to optimizations. and how you build your engine based on what you're planning to optimize. So for instance, Unreal Engine put a lot of emphasis on things like nanite, which is something that they were looking to focus on to optimize for this newest launch. Whereas a company like like CIG is putting emphasis on Planet Tech or on planetary entry or stuff like that, which is something that they had to build from the ground up to specialize in. I don't even know if Unreal Engine is 64-bit. Then again, I don't really know the significance of 64-bit besides that it's more specific and more detailed. But you know me, I'm just a
attention, damn it.
Good old Dexter Deshawn. But you know me, I'm just a tomato reading some dev reports and trying to make them sound interesting. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. Last month, the UI team continued development on the new star map. Please, CIG, please give it to us, please. Improving labeling and concepting how to display space clouds in a way that looks great and performs well. What's gonna suck is the star map's gonna go to Squadron 42 first, and we're probably not gonna see it soon. Because the star map is the worst part of this game, easily. The engine is worth the wait. UE5 has not proven it can do what Star Engine can do yet. Yeah, I mean, if they can, you know, if we start to see games that are like Star Citizen produced on Unreal Engine 5, that's saying something different. 32-bit has float point drift after like 100 kilometers. That's noticeable. I see. I mean, 100 kilometers is a pretty good range. What am I on about? Just explaining my own. I don't know. Actually, you might not be talking to me. I do not know. That'd be cool if they used the Arc Star map for sure. That thing looks great. Maybe a couple tweaks to it, but. Last in UI, the bugs were also fixed for the Siege of Orison update, and adjustments were made to the loadout systems in support of persistent streaming. And in VFX, July saw the VFX team collaborating with the art and lighting teams on modular sand cave locations. We looked at those earlier, with these modules being used by design to lay out the cave interiors. The VFX artists needed to be creative in how they placed their effects to cut down on repetition. I do hope that caves get improvements in addition to these new caves. Just says cave archetypes, because like the caves kind of suck. I mean, they don't suck, but they're very difficult. They're very stressful at times. Finally, VFX Concept kickstarted pre-production on the quantum travel experience and a general quantum travel visual overhaul. That's what we were talking about earlier. The visual overhaul, the whole quantum experience is going to change. It honestly sounds like they're moving more towards a model that's kind of similar to Elite Dangerous, in that you might actually have some manual control over how you're flying when you're in the quantum travel, and you might be able to start like ramping up your speed or something like that. I don't know. They've been very cryptic about their messaging on it, but they have definitely shown that they're planning on redoing the quantum travel experience. And I think that's also on the progress tracker. And a pretty big deal, because quantum travel has been the same for quite a while. Yeah, so here's the ongoing work. Updating the travel mechanics to move players in a more physically realistic way and improve the general experience, adjusting how spooling and calibrating interdictions and entering and exiting work. That's ongoing work up until next year, so it's going to be a little while, but it's cool that they're reworking it, because I don't think the quantum travel experience has quite enough oomph to it, you know? I don't think it's cool enough. I want more cool. Star Atlas? You guys talking about Star Atlas? How does Star Atlas come up? Oh, it reminds you of Star Citizen. Well, I mean, they are kind of going about it the same way. Granted, I think a little bit more of a not super good idea kind of way. Oh, because, okay, it's using Unreal Engine 5. I see. I mean, I hope that they'll be able to show something about Unreal Engine or Star Atlas at some point that like helps us understand what it's actually going to be. I know they showed like the ship viewer. I think they did a little demo on that, but it didn't look like the scale was kind of weird, and it just felt like they threw it into the old Unreal Engine and just kind of walked around a room. I don't know. I'm hoping that we see more about that game that's actually positive and not just about like making money. So many people tried to sell me on that game by telling me I was going to make money. I'm like, that's not why I'm playing though. I want to have some freaking fun. Star Engine will blow Resident Evil 5 away. I'm guessing that meant to say UE5 and not RE5. It's like Resident Evil. If CIG figures out the network issues, there will be nothing like Star Engine. You know what? The way I see it, they are investing in building a good foundation for a game that they want to produce for years to come. And if they want to have complete control over being able to build a game in whatever way they need to for the next 10 to 20 years, I can't see them wanting to tie themselves to an engine that is overall authoritative by another company. You know, maybe an open source engine would work for them, but I can't imagine they would pay another company to use an engine that's not tailor-made to their experience, and then also have to deal with the new updates that are coming out for that engine not necessarily being tailor-made for that experience. At least this way, they own the engine. They can decide when a new update is coming out for that engine and how it affects the game. That seems like a really smart and straightforward way to handle it. If I was going to make an engine or a game like this, I just wouldn't want to do it on somebody else's tech. Oh, I watched GG's videos on Star Atlas. Yeah, that's both him and Montoya's videos. I asked Montoya about it during our podcast, actually. This song always reminds me of Persona 5. I know I say that every time, but who am I? I'm kind of a tape recorder. Do you think it would be too much to ask for an unstuck option until they can reliably fix falling into vehicles? I don't think that's too much to ask for. I don't know what it would take for them to do that. I guess like just something that physicalizes the geometry and pushes you out. That would be nice. I think they had one time worked on something like that, but maybe it didn't stick. I don't remember. Seems like the network scheduler needs to know how to prioritize in and outputs, for example. How should a server prioritize when two battles are running in Orison and on Jumptown? Yeah, maybe through dynamic server meshing. Yeah, they'd split off different servers for that kind of thing. Yeah, UE5 will continue to evolve, of course. Epic has the best engine engineers in the industry, most likely. I have no doubt. But I also wonder, as they update UE5, how hard is it for games that are running on UE4 to update to UE5? And how much of that is based on the code that Epic makes versus the code that those companies are able to put in themselves? You know what I mean? So like if you get a game, let's say a game like, they said they're going to start making The Witcher and Cyberpunk games on UE5. Does that mean that they now have to edit it differently than they would have if they were just using the Red engine? You know, does it make it harder for them to do those edits and get them approved and make sure that they're stable throughout all of the updates that continue to come along? Or is it as easy as if they were using Red engine? Because I wonder about that when it comes to big game projects. I really am looking for somebody who is very, very well in the know of engine development that I can bring onto my podcast. But it's hard to find industry professionals that are willing to come talk to a tomato. UE4 to UE5 is not easy? Huh, okay. You've been posting IC reports of where you can get really stuck in caves due to geometry. Doesn't seem like a priority right now. Maybe they're gonna update that with the new cave systems, hopefully. Conan Exiles just did a podcast for 3.0 update, and they said because Conan Exiles is on heavily modified UE 4.1 build, they can't just migrate to UE 5. Hey, are you on the Discord? Do you mind linking that by any chance? Because that's gonna help. Anything that I can find to help me understand engine development is gonna help with the video I'm working on. Oh, it's not hard to be a tomato. But you know how it is, you know, people sometimes will crush a tomato, throw a tomato, eat a tomato. You gotta watch out. Everybody's your enemy when you're a tomato. No, I'm kidding. Everybody's your friend. The garden is lovely. As long as you stay to the garden, you get treated like a proper tomato. A proper tomat. You're not a game engine dev, but you had a quick look at Unreal Engine guide for migrating to UE 5, and it looks like it's not trivial to upgrade. I see. People always trying to make BLTs, exactly, or caprese salads. You know? Everybody calls you a vegetable when you're a fruit at heart. You get me, Robot Spartan. Y'all understand me. CS Digital Design. You guys are looking out. Tomatoes be bussin'. You are a mouse and keyboard player. How do you get your HUD UI cursor to react like a regular cursor? Slow and sluggish to what you have outside of the game, or when you hit escape in the game? Are you talking about when you're flying a ship? Because when you're flying a ship, it slows it down because your ship is slow to change direction. But for actual cursor movement, like if you're just a player who's walking around, if you just turn up the look sensitivity, that should be making it a little bit better. Ah, geez, is it already time? Hey, Billy Angel, how you doing? Good to see you in here. What are my feelings on PSE and server meshing, PES and server meshing implementation? Do you feel like we are in a massively buggy next year? To be honest, I don't think it's going to be worse than it has been. I think it'll be bad. I don't think it's going to be as stable as we've seen, but I also don't think it's going to be the worst patch we've had. I'm guessing what it's going to do is help with performance a little bit, but introduce new bugs, introduce new problems and new nuisances. But ultimately, I think at least over the next 2 patches after it comes out, it should start to help a little bit with stability. But that's like, I mean, at that point, I'm trying to predict like what gender my future child is going to be. You know, like it's so unknown. It's so out there. It's so... Bruh. Come on, man. Hold on a second, guys. Okay. I don't know. Like, it's such a crazy prediction to try and make that I'm scared to say anything about it. Honestly, I'm terrified to make any sort of predictions about server meshing because not even CIG seems to know. They seem to be seeing the comments on quality of life complaints now. They did say, what was that, last year? Beginning of last year, they said they were going to start to focus on quality of life a lot more, and it seems to be going. It seems to be happening. It's good to see. They literally bought the right to do whatever they want with the engine, so calling it Star Engine is okay, especially with how different it is. Yeah, it's just a different game engine at this point. I don't, you know, I'm not going to put 100% of my confidence in it that it's actually going to work in every way perfect, or that they've gone about this the perfect way. I really try to emphasize that because you want to be positive about this game, but people think that if you're positive about this game, everything is positivity, that you have no problems with it. And I think it's important to remember that we're all super hopeful for what they're working on. And we've seen proof that they can build stuff for this game, but at the end of the day, it's still experimental. They're basically running with R&D, and things could go wrong. They might not have done it all the correct way, but I trust that they've done it in a way that's going to allow them to make a good game in the end. It might not be the perfect game. It might not be the exact game that we want, but I think they can do something really good here. Yeah, it's still on, Cat. It's only been 3 hours. It's about the normal length of one of these streams, the monthly report streams. It's been a good stream though. That we've gotten a lot of good info. What did you guys think of this monthly report? By the way, we kind of finished it nonchalantly. Anything in particular that jumped out to all of you that you like to hear about in this one? Cautiously optimistic, great way to do it. We're all in an abusive relationship. It'd be like that sometimes. Area 18 gives you a lot of disconnect error 30,000. There might be something else going on. 30Ks are usually linked to a server-wide problem rather than just an area problem. But it could be that somebody is doing something in a specific area that's causing that. Yo, Pancake Bone, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Gifting that out to Stead Muffin. Much appreciated. Get in that raffle, folks, on Twitch. You're hoping for stability, but what you really hope for is that they really open the floodgates on systems and content that's been waiting for PES and server meshing and ramp up the development pace. I am really trying to hold off from expecting anything like that, just to be safe. I do think it's going to help them a lot with getting more content done, but in terms of content that's like sitting finished and waited, I'm staying away from making assumptions about it. Posted the link in the Discord community chat. Thank you so much, Vizaris. I'm gonna go watch that. Sounds useful. There's been problems, plenty of them. They are just problems every game goes through. You just don't get to see the sausage being made in other games. And I'm sure that CIG has made plenty of mistakes that other games have made too. In fact, we've heard about them a little bit. Mass Effect Andromeda had a lot of problems. Anthem had a lot of problems. Cyberpunk had a lot of problems. Beyond Good and Evil 2 has had a lot of problems. Oh my gosh, so many problems apparently. Beyond Good and Evil 2 was announced like 15 years ago. Granted, it was probably shelved for a while, but yeah, games have issues. They're hard to make. Like those original FPS assets that never fit the metrics they outsourced. Ooh, yeah, the stuff they did with, who was that? What was that studio? It was in something. Can't remember the name. Ilphonic, that was it. Yeah, they had a little disconnect there and made mistakes. Yeah, see, I just made mistakes. Nobody should deny that. Wish they talked more about the progress with the physicalized damage. Excited for time to disable with ships. Yeah, that's huge. I was saying that's one of the things I'm hoping for the most. Physicalized damage would be a huge change, but they're not really saying much about it other than the damage maps. So they're talking about the offline damage maps a bit here and there, testing offline damage maps with persistence, but I think this is mostly in regards to things like salvaging and the actual damage you get, not necessarily disabling ships. Think this monthly report will be a lot more appreciated after we get our hands on 318. This all seems to be lead up work towards it. Yeah, and we'll keep hearing about that kind of stuff over the next month or two, or 2 or 3 months. 317.2 has been a great experience. There's issues, but it's way better than 17 and 17.1. Been having a damn fine time in SC since 0.2 dropped. Jump Town with larger pop has been a war zone. Great fun. I like the larger population. I do. You would rather log out in the world and log in and be there instead of being sent to a station. Yeah, I think what they're trying to do with that is make sure that we get used to using beds to log out. Just so that people aren't abusing the crew capacity of ships and just logging out without actually using the beds and stuff. But obviously the benefit of that is still a ways away. Astropub did a video about the topic of the floodgate and how this is most likely not the case. Sounds like Astropub. I think he's got his finger on the pulse. I think he looks really closely at what's going on. Just saw that Deus Ex dev want to make a new Deus Ex. At least GameStar said it. Ooh, can we just make Deus Ex on Hurston and like have the game just based there? Hindrosa, hey my dude, how you doing? Can we get a shout out for Hindrosa? Oh, we did already. Good to see you, man. Check out Hindrosa if you haven't on Twitch, folks. I used to share an org with Hindrosa. Good streamer, a lot of activity, a lot of excitement. Having a lot of fun in game. Good to see you, man. The Hull A is the first ship with resource nodes and pipes exposed for the component system. Yeah, very exciting that the Hull A is at that point where resource management is starting to be tested. That break the bed text, so no on logging back in where you left off. Right, yeah, that whole thing. How's life going? That's a long story. Life is pretty crazy right now. Life is nuts. We're actually planning a trip to Europe. We've had a family trip my parents planned 3 years ago. Is it 3 years ago? Yeah, 3 years ago, but it's been delayed every year because of COVID. And we're now trying to figure out how to still do this trip because the visa process is being very complicated and it's looking like we're probably gonna have to miss a part of it, which is a bummer. But that's taking up a lot of our bandwidth right now. We've also got just like crazy stuff going on. Yeah, I won't get into it. Life's crazy though. I'm just enjoying getting to look at some Star Citizen content. You know, a little moment to soak it in throughout the day. Pretty hectic for you as well? I feel it, man. Lots going on in the world right now. You took the helmet off of an incapacitated person by mistake, causing him to die. That's funny. Oof. You murderer. Can they, as a fun experiment with a 100-player cap, do an Arena Commander 100-player mode? That would be cool. That's a good idea. I didn't even think about that. About the server size, how hard would it be to make a 10-player buffer? Instead of 100-player servers, have a 90-player one so we can party up easier. Do you mean like the server is full to 100 players, but they keep it at 90 so that parties can join in? I don't know. I don't know about that. It'd be an interesting experiment. Do I think small patches related to balancing out existing systems should be squeezed in between quarterly releases? I think it's nice for them to have them in the 3.x.x patches, but I imagine if they started to try and fit in regular mid-quarter patches, it might slow them down a bit on their main patches. Might complicate things too much. Are my folks in the US? Yeah, they're over there. The better thing would be that they spin up new players if they don't find enough spots on the running ones. Oh, new servers. Yeah. Servers are supposed to spool on demand, right? Lately, it's been hard to jump in servers with a larger group. Most won't get in and say it's full. Yeah, the party launch problem sounds like something they're figuring out with the new 3.17.2 PTU patch going on. You were on a server yesterday with 118, so you think they're allowing it to be sort of flexible. Yeah, it's dynamic, it changes, and it's not exactly 100 every time. Always trying to join in with your friends, but the servers are always full. That is a nuisance. I haven't had that problem too much. I've had it a couple times, but that has been kind of an issue over the last couple months. It sounds like the party launching is hot fixed, as Wolfie's saying in the chat. If it's at 90 and a 10-player person party joins, wouldn't it be at 100 then? Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, you're right, but I don't know exactly what the idea would be. What's stopping them going like 1,000 players? I think they don't want to burn the building down wherever the servers are stored. But I don't know. They'll push it to a certain amount they can get on the server, and then they'll let server meshing take over, so that they don't have to keep pushing the player count on server up. We had a mining op over the weekend, and someone crashed and couldn't get back in for over an hour. I had a problem kind of like that, yeah. Couldn't get back in later. Server meshing, right? That's what we're waiting for. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed this monthly report stream. Just about done here. We had a good read through. Got a lot of distractions. Got a little trolled. Had some sex bots. It was a full featured stream. I enjoyed it. Thank you everybody who was on YouTube. YouTube was amazing today in terms of support. You guys are awesome. And thank you everybody who was over on Twitch. We had a lot of subs over there, and chat was a little bit more quiet, but the people who were there were very active on their own. So thank you, Twitch. You're awesome. Cheers to everybody on both sides, though. It was a good stream. Another great look at the development going on in Star Citizen. And like I said, the next stream on Wednesday is either going to be a new player stream, so we'll do a little showcase introducing a new player to Star Citizen and seeing what they think of it, or I might do an early preview of 3.18 where we'll look at some of the features that are coming in, how they've developed, and what the plans are. Info trolls and sex bots. Oh my. Oh my. Hey, no problem answering the questions. That's why I'm here. I hope they were good answers, and I hope I didn't get anything horribly wrong. But if I did, feel free to, I don't know, leave it in the comment. Curse my family. Or even to filth. Whatever it may be. You know you're successful when you get sex bots. It's the sex bots that really tell you what your progress is. CIG, I hear, gets a lot of sex bots in their issue council because they've just done such a great job with it. It's a struggle. Getting AM to work with CIG on Mesh is going to be hard work. Amazon? We'll have to see. No stream ends without the flood of the bots. Yes. We can't stop the stream until they've shown up, and if they haven't shown up, then we just keep going. Since we've had them this whole time, again, everyone, thanks for being here. I've got dinner to be had. I gotta feed the dog too, and gonna go and try and cool off somehow because it's freaking warm in here. But thank you everybody who came. If I missed anything on this stream, feel free to hop into the Discord, spark up the conversation. We could talk about it more over there. But until the next time, folks, I will see you later. Keep an eye out for some podcast clips coming out from the new episode. Check out the 400i giveaway I'm hosting. It's either in the video description on YouTube, or if you type in !giveaway, it'll link you to that. Plenty of ways to enter 400i with the special green paint. I'm giving it away this weekend, so make sure to check that out. And yeah, check out the latest video too if you haven't already. It's about derelict ships and how they scope crept their way into being one of the biggest features in Star Citizen. It was a fun one to make. It was an exclusive video for supporters, and I just released it publicly, and I'm quite proud of it. But anyways, folks, appreciate you. See you later. Guru Shudus. Igun Lad. Have a good day. Cantor, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube channel member last second. Appreciate you, man. Go check out those exclusive videos if you'd like. But anyways, folks, till next time. This is like my third time saying it. I'll catch y'all later. Have a good week. Love you, Garden. Peace out. Also, I'm Mufa. Please, no insults in the chat. Thank you. Oh, by the way, Twitch, I'm sending you on a raid. Don't worry. See you guys later.